Chapter 1246 The Snow Fox That Descended from the Sky 1. Lung Rawashua lifted her beautiful eyes and looked at the tall and majestic snow mountain in front of her. Her heart was filled with excitement. This snow mountain was simply too beautiful. As far as the eye could see, it was a vast expanse of white. Although it was extremely cold, it was also extremely clean. The air in the snow mountain was also exceptionally fresh. Even though they were not in the snow mountain, they could feel the refreshing aura. After the little peacock landed near the snow mountain, it took the initiative to enter the bracelet. It really did not like such cold weather. However, Xiao Xiao, who was in Yuqing's arms, liked the snow mountain very much. Its tiny figure could be seen running around on the snow, playing with it. Seeing this, Lung Rawashua moved Qiu and the baby out as well. However, the two little fellows were extremely afraid of the cold. After they came out and saw such a cold place, they immediately burrowed into Lung Rawashua's arms and refused to come out. "Sister, it's so cold here." Qiu's small body shivered as it said, a little afraid of the cold. "Hee, we're already in the snow mountains. It's normal to be cold." Lung Rawashua gently stroked Qiu's soft fur and comforted it. "Qiu, baby, you're not cold at all. Come down and play with me." Xiao Xiao urged. "You have thick fur, of course you don't feel cold." Bao Bao rolled her eyes at Xiao Xiao and said unhappily, "Your fur is not thin either." Xiao Xiao grumbled in a low voice and then went back to playing. When Lung Rawashua heard the conversation between the three little fellows, she could not help but smile. Soon after, First Elder's voice rang in their ears. "Young Miss Lung, your flying beast is so fast. It's been so hard on us." "Ha ha ha. Great Elder, you guys aren't slow either." Lung Rawashua replied politely. Actually, what she wanted to say was that the Qi family had not arrived yet. From the looks of it, that so-called Qi clan genius beastie wasn't much after all. After the Ning family landed, they met up with Lung Rawashua and the rest. It was only after they had prepared the food at the foot of the snow mountain that the Qi family arrived. Seeing that the two teams had already prepared hot food, the beautiful maid of the Qi clan immediately became dissatisfied. "Aren't we together? Why didn't you guys wait for us?" One of the beautiful maidservants asked with a bit of anger. "Who told you we're together? We're just traveling together. Do you expect us to be like you and serve your young master together?" Lung Rawashua laughed mockingly. Along the way, she had not been very interested in that genius young master of the Qi family. Although that genius had always wanted to get close to them, he had been rejected by them for all sorts of reasons. "But you can't just ignore my young master like this," the beautiful servant quibbled. "Thanks, ignored. We're not even close to him, so why should we ignore him? Could it be that in your eyes this is disregard? Or do you think that everyone who sees your young master should curry favor with him?" Lung Rawashua chuckled as she retorted. "That's right. Do you think your young master is a top-grade crystal? Everyone has to like him and cling to him." Yuqing also laughed and agreed. You will regret this. If it wasn't for my young master's protection in this snow mountain, none of you would be safe and sound." The beautiful servant reminded. "Are you threatening us? Or does your young master want to kill us in this snow mountain?" Lung Rawashua laughed evilly. "What are you talking about? My young master is not that kind of person. I mean, in this snow mountain, only my young master can protect you, so you'd better be sensible." The beautiful servant said proudly. "I'm sorry, but we can protect ourselves here, so you can go back now." Lung Rawashua asked him to leave indifferently. "You will regret this," the beautiful maid said angrily. After she finished speaking, she turned around and returned to her team. After returning, the beautiful servant angrily complained to the Qi clan genius. "Young master, those people are too much. They actually look down on you. If there is any danger in the snow mountain, you must not be kind enough to care for them. They will not appreciate it." The beautiful servant suggested. "Shut up. I told you not to provoke them. Did you just ignore my words?" The Qi family's genius growled when he heard the maidservant's words. However, his eyes could not help but stare in the direction of Lung Rawashua and the others. In his entire life, this was the first time he had been completely ignored by someone. especially when it was a woman. When he was facing Lung Ruoxue, he realized that the methods he used to deal with women were all useless. This was because that woman was unmoved by force or persuasion. More importantly, there was an even more irksome man by her side, and this also aroused his competitive spirit. Moreover, he was a person who liked to seize opportunities. That was why he had been quietly observing Lung Ruoxue and the others. Now was not the time for him to make a move, so he would not go and ask for a rebuff. However, these two foolish maidservants were always ruining his plans. Sigh. A woman's jealousy was truly terrifying. Young master, the maidservant's beautiful eyes were filled with tears as she looked at her young master with an aggrieved expression. As her young master's personal maidservant, she knew very well what her young master liked. It was because of this that she felt a sense of crisis and wanted to show that she was different in front of her young master. At the same time, she also knew very well that this would anger her young master. However, she knew very well that her young master would be tender and protective towards women. Therefore, she believed that as long as she cried a few times, her young master would not hold it against her. Unfortunately, she had guessed wrong this time. The Chi Clan genius did not feel any heartache when he saw the maidservant's tear-stained face. In fact, he was even a little upset. He waved his hand and growled as if he was chasing away a fly. "Get lost. Get out of my sight. I don't want to see you now." Young master, the beautiful maidservant's face was filled with disbelief. However, when she saw her young master's serious expression, she did not dare to not turn around and leave. Yu Qing, who was not far away, saw the Chi Clan's group and laughed softly at Lung Ruoxue. "Miss, is this considered coaxing by the Chi family?" "Of course not, it's not a big deal. That young master Chi knows how to treat women tenderly. He might go and coax them later." Lung Ruoxue understood. In her previous life, she had seen many men like this. Hence, she was very clear about young Master Kai's personality. Chapter 1247. The Snow Fox That Descended from the Sky, 2. Just as she had expected, when they saw the maidservant the next day, the maidservant's face was filled with shyness, and she even glared at them with a slight provocation. Unfortunately, no one would take the provocation of a maidservant seriously. After a night's rest at the foot of the mountain, the three teams entered the mountain the next morning. Originally, the three teams had been living in peace. However, after they encountered two forks, they split up. "Miss Lung, there are two roads here. Why don't we take the right one?" The Chi family genius suggested. "Young Master Chi is interested in the right path, but I want to take the left path. We can't agree on this. What should we do?" Lung Ruoxue pretended to be in a difficult position. "Of course I'll listen to my young master." Before the Chi Clan genius could speak, the beautiful maid beside him spoke first. "Why should I?" Lung Ruoxue raised her brows and asked with a faint smile. "With my young master's identity and status, you all should listen to him." The beautiful servant said with a matter-of-fact expression, her proud tail almost raised. "It's a pity that this isn't the Chi family, so your young master's identity and status are useless to me." Lung Ruoxue scoffed. "Don't regret it if you don't listen to my master," the beautiful maidservant warned. In fact, she couldn't wait for Lung Ruoxue and the others to part ways with him. He didn't want to be scolded by young master. "Young Master Chi, in that case, let's part ways here. I wish you all good luck." Lung Ruoxue ignored the servant girl and spoke to the Chi clan's genius. "Miss Lung, don't be so impulsive. Let's go together. It'll be dangerous for you to go alone." The Chi clan genius urged. "It's okay. We're not afraid of danger." Lung Ruoxue said disapprovingly. "Ha ha! Don't worry, young Master Chi. Miss Lung will not be in danger. Our Ning family will go with them." At this time, the first elder who had been silent the whole time finally spoke. "You guys want to go with them? Do you want to die too?" When a maidservant heard the Ning family's first elder's words, she said in disbelief. He didn't listen to her young master, and instead wanted to go with a woman with no status or position. In her eyes, this was simply inconceivable. It should be known that her young master had a secret weapon and knew where the safest place to go was. Therefore, When she heard the Ning family's first elder's words, her reaction was so big. Little girl, we didn't come to the snow mountain to play, so it's normal for there to be danger. How can you say that we're courting death? No one would want to die if they could live. In fact, he didn't really like the way young Master Chi did things. Moreover, along the way, he had seen the hostility these two beautiful maidservants had towards Lung Ruoxue. Moreover, Lung Ruoxue had a special relationship with the Ning family, so he naturally had no reason to help an outsider. Only by going with my family's young master will the danger be the least. If your Ning family goes with them, if something unexpected happens, don't regret it. The beautiful servant said with some schadenfreude. Thanks, what are you saying, little girl? Are you cursing us? Before the great elder could speak, an elder of the Ning family who could not stand it spoke first. I'm just reminding you out of good intentions, but you don't appreciate it. Young master, let's go quickly. Once we figure out the truth, we can report to the main family as soon as possible. The beautiful maid turned her head and said to her young master. The Chi clan genius pondered for a moment before nodding. It was indeed very important for him to figure out the truth. After all, this was related to his future and status in the clan. Therefore, he cannot take it lightly. Miss Lung, first Elder Ning, since you've made up your mind, I won't force you. Let's part ways here. We'll meet again. Chi clan's genius bowed slightly and led the Chi clan members to the right. First Elder looked at the Chi family's back view and smiled at Lung Ruoxue. Miss Lung, shall we set off? Let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded and led the group to the left. Along the way, Lung Ruoxue and the rest discovered many herbs suitable for growing in the snow. These herbs were what she urgently needed at the moment. Hence, when she saw the herbs, Lung Ruoxue bent down and picked them without hesitation. Seeing this, Ziyu and Yuqing also quickly lowered their bodies and helped to pick. When the Ning family's first elder saw this situation, he also ordered everyone in the Ning family to help. He could tell that Lung Ruoxue would not continue on her journey until she finished gathering all the herbs she came across. Just like that, after parting ways with the Chi clan, they spent the first day picking herbs. At night, when the Ning family's first elder and the others were preparing to set up their tents, they saw Lung Ruoxue take out an exquisite and small house and place it on the snow. The Ning family watched as the house grew in size in an instant, and they were all stunned. Everyone from the Ning family was shocked. Although they had never seen such a spatial divine weapon before, they had seen it before. Hence, they would not be so ignorant as to think that Lung Ruoxue had only taken out a toy. Miss Lung, I didn't expect you to have such a divine weapon. The great elder said with an envious expression. Not everyone could possess such a divine tool. Even if one had money, one might not be able to buy it. This is a gift from the Armament Guild headquarters' great elder. Everyone can stay here tonight, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Hee, that's great. I thought we'd have to spend the night in this world of ice and snow. I really didn't think that I would have the chance to stay in this rare divine artifact. The first elder said happily. Haha, Miss Lung, we'll have to rely on you today. If the Chi family knows that we actually have a house to live in, I wonder if they'll regret it to death. An elder of the Ning family said with excitement. That young Master Chi will have a way. We don't need to worry about the Chi family. Let's go in quickly. The snow mountain at night is very cold. Lung Ruoxue reminded. Chapter 1248. The Snow Fox That Descended from the Sky. 3. Right? Hurry up and go into the room. It's freezing outside. Everyone from the Ning family quickly said. Then, everyone entered the house together. The snowy mountain was covered in ice and snow, and it was extremely cold. However, it was a different scene inside the house. Everyone in the Ning family was like a grandmother in a grand view garden, looking around curiously and constantly praising. This place is really too beautiful. The 4 seasons are like spring, and the spiritual chi is rich. Hee. If I can stay here for a lifetime, I'll die without any regrets. Look at you. You should be thinking that if I can also have such a divine artifact, then I can die without any regrets. Someone immediately said in disdain, "Your way of thinking is daydreaming. Can money buy such a divine weapon?" The person who was lamenting earlier immediately retorted sarcastically. The two of them actually started arguing in front of Lung Roashue and the others, not caring about their image. "All of you shut up. The Ning family's face has been completely lost by you." Hearing their words, the Ning family's first elder's face darkened, and he couldn't help but shout. When the two people who were arguing saw the great elder's might, they quickly shut their mouths and didn't dare to make a sound. Then, the Ning family's first elder said to Lung Roashue awkwardly, "I'm sorry, I've embarrassed myself in front of Miss Lung, hee. It doesn't matter, you guys can do as you please." Lung Roashue laughed lightly. With her godfather's reputation, she would naturally not exclude the Ning family completely. The reason she took out this house was so that everyone could live here, even though their reaction was a little unexpected. "Hee, then we won't be polite," the Ning family's first elder said with a smile. "You're welcome," Lung Roashue said, then instructed Ziyu to arrange rooms for the Ning family. After dinner, the Ning family's first elder specially came to look for Lung Roashue and the others. He sat down in the garden and started chatting with them. "Young Lady Lung, that young Master Qi wanted us to go with him. He probably has some sort of confidence that that path would be relatively safer. The reason you chose the opposite path, is it because you don't want to go with him?" The Ning family's first elder leisurely sipped the tea in his hand and asked with a gossipy expression. "Of course not. Great elder should have heard of the saying wealth is found in danger. The path I've chosen seems dangerous, but it's not dangerous. The path young Master Qi has chosen, although it looks calm on the surface, who knows the hidden dangers? I might as well tell you clearly that the Snow Mountain secret realm is at the end of that road," Lung Roashue said with a smile. "Arg, then why don't we take that path? Aren't we going to the Snowy Mountain secret realm?" The first elder had a face full of question marks. However, he wouldn't ask Lung Roashue why she was so certain. After all, who in this world didn't have their own secrets and methods? Hence, he only had to follow the footsteps of Lung Roashue and the rest. "Because I want a snow fox, and I'm also picking some snow lotuses from the Snow Mountain." Lung Roashue chuckled. Miss Lung, am not that gullible, am I? You must have your reasons for doing this, I understand," the great elder said with a look of understanding. Great elder, am telling the truth." Lung Roakshu's forehead was filled with black lines. She really did not know why the first elder trusted her so much. Was he not afraid that she would sell out the Ning family? "Thanks, since Miss Long wants a snow fox and can pick some snow lotuses at the same time, then with our help, it will definitely be a piece of cake." First elder followed Lung Roakshu's lead and cleverly did not continue asking. After a brief chat, the great elder stood up and returned to his room. The next morning, when Lung Roashue and the rest walked out of their rooms, they realized that it was snowing outside. The white snow had covered the roof of their house. Moreover, through the window of the house, they could clearly see the falling snowflakes, which were the size of a baby's fist. For a moment, everyone was a little dumbfounded. Although they had lived in the divine realm for many years, none of them had ever seen such heavy snow. "Is that snow outside?" one of the Ning family members asked in disbelief. "What else could it be if not snow?" Someone replied. After that, the person even deliberately left the house. However, he was frozen back in the next second. "It's so cold outside." After returning, that person hurriedly said, and he secretly sighed with lingering fear. If it wasn't for this house, they would have been frozen into ice sculptures if they had lived in tents. Furthermore, the snow had been falling for several days. Even though Lung Roashue and the rest were trapped in the house, they were not dejected. Instead, they enjoyed the magnificent snow scene. After nearly 10 days, the snow finally stopped. Lung Roashue and the rest then left the house and tried their best to clear the snow around the house. The snow was so thick that it could almost bury them. The Ning family had been living in the house for a few days now, and they were much calmer. They even felt a sense of relaxation that they had never felt before. After all, they did not have to worry about the family's affairs for so many days. This was an experience that they had never experienced before. Furthermore, when they were free, the Ning family's first elder would even talk to them. Hence, when the snow stopped, Lung Ruoxue could feel that the Ning family was different. They were much more united. Of course, the first elder of the Ning family was the happiest. The Ning family would only prosper if the people of the Ning family were united. Miss Lung, now that the snow has stopped, shall we continue on our way? The Ning family's first elder said to Lung Ruoxue as he looked at the snow. Let's wait a few more days. The snow has just stopped, so I'm afraid the road won't be easy to walk on. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. That's good. The first elder of the Ning family nodded slightly. Then everyone stayed in the same place for a few days. However, after the snow stopped, some of the Ning family members couldn't stay idle and went hunting together. However, they didn't dare to go too far. Furthermore, Lung Ruoxue was afraid that they would encounter some unknown danger, so she had specially instructed Ziyu to go with them. After they came back from hunting, each of them was carrying 2 fat snow rabbits in their hands. It could be seen that they had a good harvest. Chapter 1249. The Snow Fox That Descended from the Sky. 4. Miss, this is for you. Ziyu walked in front of Lung Ruoxue and took out a few palm-sized rabbits from her bosom. Those little rabbits were pink and tender. Some of their eyes had not opened yet, and at this moment their small bodies were all curled up. It was unknown whether it was because of the cold or because they were scared. Lung Ruoxue looked at the little rabbit that Ziyu handed over, and her forehead was filled with black lines. She couldn't help but secretly sigh. What was the meaning of this? Did he want her to raise them to eat meat, or did he want her to treat these rabbits as pets? However, she really did not have any interest in raising rabbits. Furthermore, she absolutely believed that her beast would definitely treat these rabbits as food. It was absolutely impossible for them to get along with rabbits in peace. After all, food was food. Doesn't Miss like furry little animals? These little bunnies are all very cute. Looking at Lung Ruoxue's puzzled expression, Ziyu said with some embarrassment, no matter how cute they aren't as cute as me. Big sister doesn't need these rabbits. You should take care of them. When they grow up, we'll eat them as food. The baby lying in Lung Ruoxue's arms snorted arrogantly. A few rabbits actually wanted to compete with it for favor. They were simply dreaming. That's right, they're food. Qiuqiu echoed. Looking at the 2 little fellows, Qiuqiu and Bao Bao, who were eager to get rid of these rabbits. Ziyu was really speechless. The young Miss Beast were too good at fighting for her favor. He didn't even let the rabbits go. Miss, they'll take care of these rabbits. After a long while, Ziyu said helplessly, Yes, fatten them up. We want to eat. Bao Bao glared fiercely at Ziyu. It could read people's minds and see through their souls. So naturally, Ziyu's thoughts couldn't be hidden from it. You guys hunted so many rabbits. Are you planning to eat them tonight? Lung Ruoxue was a little speechless. Could it be that these people had raided the rabbit's nest? Miss Lung, we didn't want to only hunt rabbits, but it has been snowing for so many days. Besides rabbits, we can't see any other animals, so we can only make do with it. The Ning family members who went hunting couldn't help but complain. Then let's eat rabbit today, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Not only that, for the next few days, the food for Lung Ruoxue and the rest was mainly rabbits. After eating for a few days, no one wanted to eat rabbits anymore. Thanks on the 5th day after the snow had stopped, the snow in the snow mountain had become much more solid. After Lung Ruoxue and the demon child went out for a walk, they decided to set off immediately. The herbs in the snow mountain that liked the cold seemed to have grown stronger after the snow. Furthermore, with Qiuqiu leading the way, they easily gathered a few snow lotuses that were not too old. Lung Ruoxue also promised that after they were refined into pills, she would give each of them a few. Qiuqiu led Lung Ruoxue and the rest towards the area where the medicinal herbs were abundant. After the Ning family members received Lung Ruoxue's promise, their interest in picking the medicinal herbs grew even higher. Io, who hit me? Suddenly, an elder of the Ning family who was squatting down and concentrating on picking herbs shouted, Why are you acting so surprised? No one would hit you. The Ning family's first elder lifted his eyelids and said indifferently, "Someone really hit me." The Ning clan elder said with a wronged expression. Just as he finished speaking, something fell from the sky and hit him on the head, knocking him out and pressing him down. When Lung Ruoxue and the rest saw this, they were speechless. They felt pity for him. What a poor guy. He was so unlucky. However, they were more interested in the giant that had knocked out this elder of the Ning family. The huge creature was like a small mountain. Its whole body was snow white. However, at this time, its snow-white fur was stained with blood and full of wounds, which made people tremble with fear. It was obvious that this was a snow fox that had been seriously injured. After the fox fell from the sky, it was already in a state of unconsciousness. If it had not been for the elder of the Ning family acting as a cushion for it, it would probably have died. "Miss Lung, didn't you want a snow fox? Here, I've brought it to you." Seeing this situation, the Ning family's first elder couldn't help but laugh. Although their Ning family's elder had been knocked unconscious, this fact was too funny, and he couldn't control himself. "Yes." Lung Ruoxue nodded helplessly as she watched the Ning family's first elder laugh wildly without any reservations. Then she took out a white pill from her bracelet and stuffed it into the mouth of the giant snow fox. Chapter 1250. The Truth About the Secret Realm 1. Not long after, the huge snow fox opened its eyes and looked at the people in front of it with vigilance. It knew that the people in front of it had saved it. However, the things that had happened in the past few days had made it wary of everything. When Lung Ruoxue saw that the huge snow fox had woken up, she knew that its injuries were almost healed. However, when she saw that the snow fox was pretending to be mute without saying a word, she couldn't help but smile and say, "We saved you, and you haven't thanked us yet. Thank you for saving me." The huge snow fox was a little speechless. However, it could not help but sigh in its heart. It would take the initiative to ask others to thank them. Although it indeed should thank them properly, it felt a little strange that such a request came from the mouth of its savior. "You're welcome, little fox. Shouldn't you get up first? Otherwise, our Ning family's elder will be crushed to death by you." Lung Ruoxue looked at the huge snow fox that was still sitting on the ground without moving and was in a daze. She chuckled and teased it. This snow fox's body was as tall as a small mountain, and it was also a fourth-ranked sacred beast. He didn't know if the Ning clan elder would lose his little life after being pressed down by it. "Ai, what an unlucky fellow. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose." Upon hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, the huge snow fox hurriedly stood up from the ground. It, who was almost 2 meters tall, lowered its head and said in embarrassment, "It's okay, I forgive you." Lung Ruoxue replied nonchalantly. She wasn't the one being used as a meat cushion anyway. "Little fox, I saved your life, so you must remember to repay me." Lung Ruoxue continued, "How do you want me to repay you?" The huge snow fox asked with a puzzled look. It could not help but wonder in its heart. This human woman actually called a little fox. How is it small? It's obviously huge, okay? However, even though it was slightly dissatisfied with the way Lung Ruoxue had addressed it, it still tacitly agreed to it. After all, she was its savior. At this moment, the man and the fox both threw the elder of the Ning family, who had become a meat cushion, to the back of their minds. "We're not familiar with the snow mountain. Why don't you be our guide for the time being? Of course, I won't mistreat you." Lung Ruoxue pondered for a moment before speaking. Actually, her main purpose was not to have the snow fox act as their guide. It was just that the snow fox had just been severely injured and was at its most vigilant state. Hence, she had no choice but to use this plan. "It's very cold in the snow mountain. You should go back early." When a gigantic snow fox heard Lung Ruoxue's words, it neither agreed nor rejected her. Instead, it spoke softly as if the matter was none of its business. "It's okay. We're not afraid of the cold. We came to the snow mountain to pick herbs. How can we go back before we've picked all the herbs?" Lung Ruoxue said stubbornly. "You should know where to find herbs, right?" Lung Ruoxue added after seeing the expression on the giant snow fox's face. I know a little. The gigantic snow fox said indifferently. If they really only wanted to collect some medicinal herbs, it could satisfy them and even guarantee their safety. However, if they had other thoughts, then it would be helpless. Then take us there. However, it's a little late today. Let's rest for the night, and you'll take us there tomorrow morning. Lung Roashua said, after some thought. Thanks, yes. The huge snow fox nodded and turned to leave. However, it had only taken 2 steps when it realized that Lung Roashua and the rest did not move. They were only staring at it intently. It could not help but feel suspicious. Why aren't you guys leaving? Weren't they looking for a place to spend the night? I know a place that's very safe. Come with me. The gigantic snow fox turned around and said, No, this place is fine. After Lung Roashua finished speaking, she took out the house and placed it on an empty space. The snow fox looked at the house that had suddenly become bigger and was stunned for a moment. However, it quickly reacted and circled around the house. It was amazed. It really did not expect that this human would have such a good thing. With this house, they would be much safer in the snow mountain. It seemed that it did not have to worry about where they would stay at night. Not far away, the Ning family's grand elder looked at the huge snow fox's calm appearance and sighed in admiration. It seemed that the Ning family could not even compare to a fox in some matters. Look at him, so calm and composed. Looking back at the Ning family's reaction when they first saw the house, he felt a little embarrassed thinking about it now. However, that should be the normal reaction of humans. The great elder consoled himself. Everyone come in. We won't pick them today. Let's eat something delicious tonight. Eat the rabbit meat. Lung Roashua laughed evilly as she spoke to everyone. At first, when the Ning family heard that they were going to eat delicious food tonight, they were all very excited. However, when they heard that the delicious food was rabbit meat, they all became a little listless. They really didn't want to eat rabbit meat anymore. That Miss Lung, let's not eat rabbit meat tonight, okay? If we eat any more, we're going to vomit. An elder of the Ning family carefully discussed. The rabbit meat was all hunted by you. How proud it is to eat the fruits of your labor. You should be happy. Lung Roashua said with a smile. But we really don't want to eat anymore. Someone complained in a low voice. However, Lung Roashua ignored everyone's reaction and calmly asked, Aren't you guys coming in? When the Ning family heard this, they quickly entered the house, but the big snow fox did not move. Why don't you come in? Lung Roashua stood at the door of the house and asked with a light smile. When the snow fox heard Lung Roashua's words, it wanted to say something but stopped. Then, it walked into the house with elegant steps. After entering the house, Lung Roashua instructed Ziyu to arrange a room for the giant snow fox. Then, she personally supervised the Ning family's preparation of dinner. There was rabbit meat for dinner, but of course there were other dishes. When it was time for dinner, the snow fox walked out of its room. The blood on its body had already been washed away. Its snow-white and soft fur looked extremely fluffy and soft. Coupled with a pair of light blue, clear eyes, it looked cute and adorable. Of course, this was only in Lung Roashua's eyes. Chapter 1251. The Truth About the Secret Realm. 2. In the eyes of the Ning family, the huge snow fox here was dangerous. The Ning family members who were not as strong, as it felt a faint pressure being released from the snow fox's body, which gave them a sense of oppression. When the snow fox walked to Lung Roashua's side, she could not help but stretch out her fair and tender little hand to caress its snow-white fur, which was as soft as silk. It felt really good. However, before she had the time to sigh at this beautiful touch, she was thunderstruck by the snow fox's bold and confident words. Only my woman can touch me. The huge snow fox looked at the soft little hands that were touching its body and said with a calm and serious expression, When Lung Roashua heard these words, she instantly felt as if she was struck by lightning. Her hand was fixed on the snow fox's body, and she did not dare to move at all. Furthermore, as she was so shocked, she even forgot to retract her hand from the snow fox's body. It just so happens that I don't have a woman that I'm interested in. Since you like me, then I'll devote my body to you. The snow fox continued, but in its heart, it could not help but laugh. It was quite interesting to tease this woman. No need. No need. Cold sweat broke out on Lung Ruoxu's forehead. It was only then that she suddenly remembered that her hand was still on the snow fox's body. She was so frightened that she quickly retracted her hand and carefully looked at the demon. Seeing that his expression was normal and did not show any signs of displeasure, her heart finally calmed down a little. Sob, it was simply too dangerous. Stinky fox, how dare you play with her? Lung Ruoxue, who had regained her senses, naturally knew that the snow fox was just teasing her. However, the evildoer was a jealous person, and there was no reason for him to be jealous. Hence, even though she saw that the evildoer's expression did not change, she had no choice but to carefully move closer to him. She looked at him with a fawning expression and said, "Let's eat." "All right," he said. The demon smiled and looked at the snow fox not far away with a profound meaning. His dark, starry eyes contained a hint of warning, but no one noticed it. After finishing her dinner with her heart in her mouth, Lung Ruoxu pulled the demon back to her room early in the morning. However, before she returned to her room, she took out the charm, baby, and she from her bracelet so that the snow fox would not feel lonely. In the garden, the huge snow fox looked at the three small and cute foxes in front of it and said with certainty, "You guys aren't from the divine realm, are you?" "How did you know?" the May asked calmly. Although they were both snow foxes, they were of a different species. This was because the snow fox in front of them was the one that lived in the snow mountains. As for the May, although it was also a type of snow fox, it lived in the forest. There are no purple-eyed snow foxes in the fox clan of the divine realm. Not only that, but the number of snow foxes is also very small. The gigantic snow fox explained. In the fox race, the snow fox race was considered a royal race. The purple-eyed snow fox was undoubtedly the king among them. However, snow foxes that possessed the purple-eyed bloodline no longer existed. Therefore, the king of the fox race was now an ordinary snow fox. "We are indeed not from the divine realm." May chuckled. "If you were living in the divine realm, you would have been dead long ago. The Fox King will not let you go." The huge snow fox said in an understanding manner, "Thank you for your reminder, but I don't have any plans to return to the fox race." The May indifferently said, "You've all recognized a master?" The huge snow fox understood. "Yes, our master is Lung Ruoxu." The May explained, "Thanks, does she treat you well?" The gigantic snow fox asked in concern. "Of course, our lovely master is the best master in the world. Why don't you also recognize our master as your master?" Before the May could answer, the treasure had already snatched it. Furthermore, the treasure even had the intention to abduct her. "I don't have any plans to recognize a human as my master," the gigantic snow fox said softly. It still had its own mission. "You'll regret not recognizing my lovely master as your master." Baby's face was full of regret. "Oh, really? I really want to know how you'll regret it." The huge snow fox's curiosity was piqued. "I can't eat anything delicious, and I can't eat my cute master's soft tofu." Baby's face was full of yearning. At least, these two things were what it liked the most. However, there was a demon guarding its lovely master, so even if it wanted to take advantage of its master, it had to do it without leaving a trace. Otherwise, if it was caught, it would be waiting for the demon's revenge. After hearing Baby's words, the huge snow fox's forehead was filled with black lines, and it secretly sighed. Look at this purple fox's future prospects. It actually treated eating and taking advantage of its master as the most important thing. Can't it have a bigger goal? TSK. Don't look down on my dream. It's very important to us beasties. You don't know how many beasties my lovely master has to fight for her favor." At the thought of this, Baby was a little depressed again. There were a lot of beastie who loved their master, so if they were to divide it evenly, they would have very little time. "I'm not looking down on your dreams. My name is Shuang. What about you guys?" The snow fox changed the topic and introduced itself. It helplessly sighed. It could only say that each fox had their own ambitions. The charm, Baby, and Cheese also introduced themselves. Then, the four foxes started to chat. The next morning, when Lung Ruoxue and the rest walked out of the room, they saw 4 foxes, 1 big and 3 small, snuggling together in the garden, sleeping soundly. When they heard the noise, Shui-Ing was the first to wake up. Following that, Mei, Baby, and Phoenix woke up as well. When they saw Lung Ruoxue, the 3 of them pounced into her arms and rubbed against her coyly. When Shui-Ing saw that the 3 of them were getting along so well with their master, he was happy that they had found a good master. After all, after a night of interaction, he had already regarded these 3 little foxes as his juniors. Therefore, he naturally hoped that they would live well. At the thought of this, Shui-Ing stood up from the ground and walked to Lung Ruoxue. He introduced himself. "I'm Shui-Ing. I thank you on behalf of the Fox clan." Shui-Ying's words of gratitude were due to her good treatment of Mei, Bao Bao, and Imo. Lung Ruoxue was very clear about this. This was also the main reason why she had removed Mei and the other 2 little foxes from her bracelet. After all, they were of the same clan, and it would be easier for them to get along with each other. It would also lower the snow fox's guard against them. From the looks of it now, those 3 little fellows had performed well. Chapter 12:52. The Truth About the Secret Realm. 3. They are my beastie. It's my duty to treat them well. You don't need to thank me. Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Not every master will treat beastie well, so I still have to thank you. Shui-Ing said stubbornly. If you want to thank me, then take me to pick more herbs from the snow mountain. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. No problem, he said. Shui-Ing replied readily. Although he had promised Lung Ruoxue that he would bring her to pick herbs yesterday, he had planned to simply bring them to pick herbs before sending them down the mountain. Now that he had the 3 little foxes as a bridge, he naturally had to take this seriously. Of course, he was still not clear about Lung Ruoxue's true motive. In fact, Lung Ruoxue's intentions were not in the wine. Shui-Ing was a man of action. After the group continued on their way, he brought them to the place with the most medicinal herbs in the snow mountain. Furthermore, at Lung Ruoxue's request, he brought them to places where ordinary medicinal herbs grew densely. These were places that Xiuqiu could not sense. After all, that little fellow was most interested in natural treasures. After a few more days of herb picking, Shui-Ing, Lung Ruoxue, and the others had become familiar with each other. Furthermore, it was not stingy to talk to them about the situation in the snow mountain. After all, it had lived in the snow mountain for many years. Although it did not dare to say that it knew every place in this place like the back of its hand, there was no difference between them. In the garden, a huge snow-white fox was chatting with everyone. Suddenly, an elder of the Ning family asked, Shui-Ing, do you know about the secret realm that suddenly appeared in the snow mountain? As soon as this elder of the Ning family said this, everyone in the Ning family stared at Shui-Ing without blinking, and Shui-Ing was silent for a long time. In fact, the reason why this elder asked this question at this time was also incited by the Ning family's first elder. After all, with such a local snake here, if they didn't take the opportunity to ask clearly, wouldn't they regret it? After a long while, Shui-Ing opened his mouth and said indifferently, It's very dangerous there. Don't even think about it. I brought you to gather enough herbs these few days. You should leave the mountain early. How dangerous is it? The Ning family elder received the great elder's gaze and continued to ask shamelessly. That place is not a so-called secret realm, but an illusionary realm. Those who are trapped in the illusionary realm will lose their nature if their will is not strong enough. They will want to kill each other, so I advise you not to go. Shui-Ing explained softly. You've been inside? Lung Ruoxue grasped the key point and asked. Yes, we Shosho are the same as you humans. We also need natural treasures to aid our cultivation. So, when we hear about the secret realm, we are naturally interested. Moreover, the secret realm is located in the snow mountain. It could be said that we are in a favorable position. So how can we not enter? Shui-Ing said with a bitter expression. You've been in the snow mountain for a few days. Haven't you noticed that there are pitifully few beasts here? Except for those rabbits, who couldn't enter the secret realm because of their low strength. Most of the beasts entered the secret realm. Later, Many adventurers came after hearing the news, and now all the people and beasts are trapped in the so-called secret realm. Snow Shadow continued. Then how did you escape? Hearing Shui Ying's words, the Ning family's great elder pondered deeply and asked with a frown. If the mystic realm was really as dangerous as Shui Ying had described, he really didn't know how many people from the Ning family would still be alive. Sigh. Thinking of this, he started to worry. The talent of our snow fox race can resist some of the power of the illusion. However, I was able to escape because I was seriously injured. You saw it that day. Snow Shadow reminded. How did you get injured? Attacked by an illusion? Or? Lung Ruoshu asked indifferently. Although the attack of the illusory realm is very powerful, it is still manageable for our snow fox race. However, I'm unable to deal with the siege of 3 high-level deities at the same time. Moreover, the 3 people who besieged me did not only have the strength of a high-level deity. They should be from the divine world. Although it was only a guess, Xueting was very sure that his guess was close to the truth. After all, no high-level deity could easily use so much divine power. From the divine realm? If that's the case, Miss Lung, I'm afraid this matter is not something we can solve. Why don't we report this to the main family? The Ning family's first elder suggested. Right now, he was very glad that he had firmly followed in the footsteps of Lung Ruoxue and the others. Otherwise, wouldn't they also be trapped in that detestable secret realm? Ill-informed godfather, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. Although she was not afraid of this so-called secret realm with the power she had, she did not want to reveal her full strength too early. Therefore, she could only rely on her godfather this time. All right. When the first elder of the Ning family heard Lung Ruoxue's words, he was overjoyed. He knew that if he was the one to inform the main family, it would be hard to say whether the main family would truly value him. However, if Lung Ruoxue were to contact their old ancestor, the main family would definitely not dare to neglect him. Following that, Lung Ruoxue returned to her room and contacted Master Ning. She told him everything that had happened, but Master Ning did not play by the rules. Not only did he not take this so-called mystic realm seriously, but he even secretly complained that Lung Ruoxue had not informed him as soon as she had come out of seclusion. This made Lung Ruoxue not know whether to laugh or cry. After cutting off contact with the master of the Ning family, Lung Ruoxue went to the garden. Miss Lung, what did the old ancestors say? The Ning family's first elder saw that Lung Ruoxue had returned and asked impatiently. Godfather said he knows. Lung Ruoxue relayed. That's it. Did the ancestors say when he would send someone? The Ning family's first elder was a bit disappointed and couldn't help but ask. No, I've already told Godfather our location. Let's wait here for a few days. Don't worry, Godfather will send someone over. Lung Ruoxue promised. Thanks, that's the only way. The first elder of the Ning family said helplessly. Are you really planning to enter the secret realm? Xueying, who had been silent for a long time, could not help but ask, sigh. Looking at these people, it knew that it couldn't stop them. However, it really couldn't watch them die. Yes, my family and subordinates might be trapped inside, so I have to go save them. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Even though she knew that her grandfather and the others were still alive, she couldn't remain calm after knowing that it wasn't some secret realm. She had to make a trip to the secret realm personally. If she couldn't confirm whether her grandfather and the others were inside, she wouldn't be able to calm down. If her grandfather and the others were really inside, she had to save them. It's very dangerous there. Even if your will is strong enough, you may not be able to resist the influence of the illusion. And if you stay there for a long time, no matter how strong your will is, I'm afraid you will collapse. Xueying said with some worry. Then all the more I must go. Lung Ruoxue said stubbornly. Ai, all right, then I'll go with you. Xueying said helplessly. Even though he wanted to keep his life and do what he had to do, he could not just watch Lung Ruoxue and the rest die. Who asked her to be the master of the 3 little foxes? It was so conflicted. Then I'll thank you in advance. Lung Ruoxue said with a faint smile. Although she wanted to find out more about the mystic realm from Xueying, she had no intention of letting him accompany her and the others to their deaths. Now that he had taken the initiative to ask, she had to accept this favor. "It's not too late to thank me if we can come out alive," Shui said indifferently. "Little fox, you're too pessimistic. If you can escape from that so-called secret realm by yourself, why can't so many of us come out?" The demon laughed, his handsome face filled with mystery. "I don't have any burden on me, so I'll naturally try my best to escape." But Snow Shadow glanced at the Ning family from the corner of his eye. He didn't finish his sentence. In fact, he wanted to say that he was a burden. After all, in its eyes, other than the few elders of the Ning family, the rest of the Ning family were too weak. As for Lung Ruoxue and the others, it did not comment on them. "Other than us, there are also a few elders of the Ning family. No one else is allowed to enter the secret realm." Lung Ruoxue gave the final word. The Ning clan did not dare to have any objections to Lung Ruoxue's decision. In reality, after knowing that this mystic realm was not the same mystic realm, no one was willing to enter. However, no one dared to say that they would not enter either. Hence, Lung Ruoxue's decision was exactly what they wanted. However, we still have to wait for a few more days. Lung Ruoxue said after seeing the reaction of the Ning family. "Wait for reinforcements?" Shuang asked indifferently. "Yes." Lung Ruoxue nodded. For the next few days, Lung Ruoxue and the rest stayed in the house and bided their time. Furthermore, she did as Shuang had instructed and made some preparations. 3 days later, the master of the Ning family personally led a team to the Snow Mountain. Along with him were the first elder of the Craftsmen's Guild, Mo Yin, Lu Feng, and Lu Yu. Her senior brother Bing, Yao, had also come. When Master Ning and the rest saw Lung Ruoxue, they naturally exchanged pleasantries and got closer to her. They saw a few extremely handsome men in the garden, pulling Lung Ruoxue and asking her all sorts of questions. When the Ning family saw this scene, they did not even dare to breathe loudly, because none of these people could be provoked. "Why are you all here? Senior brother, do you know where second senior brother is?" Lung Ruoxue looked at the familiar face in front of her and could not help but ask curiously. "My disciple might be trapped in that secret realm. How could I not come?" Lu Feng was the first to speak. "Yes, my disciple might be in there too," Mo Yin said. "I'm here to help," Lu Yu said with an elegant smile. "I'm here to help you save people, so your family and subordinates are naturally mine. We can't distinguish between each other," the first elder said with a smile. "The same logic. I haven't found any clues about my junior brother, so I came back to help you save him," Bing Yao explained. "Schwer, when are we leaving?" The master of the Ning family said impatiently. He really wanted to see what kind of secret realm was that could actually deceive so many people. Those who dared to lie to him had to pay the price. Chapter 1253. Entering the Secret Realm 1 Now. "Godfather, didn't you inform the other families in the 8 divine domains?" Lung Ruoxue chuckled as she asked. "I did, but I can't decide if they'll send anyone here." "Let's go, girl," the master of the Ning family urged. "Yes." Lung Ruoxue nodded. Then, they walked towards a mystic realm together. As for the Ning family members who were too weak, Lung Ruoxue asked them to stay in the house. After walking for close to an hour, Lung Ruoxue and the rest arrived at the secret realm under the guidance of Shuang. Standing at the entrance of the mystic realm, he looked at the shining teleportation gate. On the right side of the gate were 2 bright words, "Mystic Realm." Lung Ruoxue was speechless. This was the first time she had found out that the entrance of the secret realm that had appeared out of thin air had words written on it. Was it because they were afraid that others wouldn't know where they were? The words "secret realm" were clearly marked on the map. Did no one suspect that something was wrong with this place? Or were people's curiosity really that strong? If it was her, she would definitely not go in. Just because it's written that it's a mystic realm, it's a mystic realm. The master of the Ning family looked at the 2 big words next to the portal of the secret realm, and his forehead was full of black lines. He couldn't help but say, "Little fox, was this how you were tricked into going in?" The great elder asked in surprise and exaggeratedly wiped away the cold sweat on his forehead. "That's right. Everyone was too excited at the time, and no one thought about it that carefully. Shuang was extremely embarrassed. Ever since he found out that this was not the so-called secret realm, he had also discovered many loopholes. However, they had discovered it too late. AI, you're too gullible to have been fooled by just 2 words. Lu Feng's face was filled with disappointment. Yup, we're all too stupid. It knew that the helpers that Lung Ruoxue had found were all very powerful. At the very least, it could not tell their cultivation level. Hence, it had full confidence in this trip to the mystic realm. After all, it also wanted to find out the true purpose of the mystic realm's appearance. Let's go in. Lung Ruoxue chuckled before taking out a few pills and distributing them to the crowd. What kind of pill is this? The taste is so special. The master of the Ning family looked at the emerald pill in his hand, which was emitting the smell of grass, and asked curiously, could this be the spirit awakening pill? Louis West sniffed the elixir and exclaimed in surprise. Although the elixir in his hand was only a low-rank divine elixir, the ingredients to refine the refreshing elixir were extremely difficult to find. As a result, the price of the refreshing elixir was much higher than the average low-rank divine elixir. Refreshing pill. Little girl, you took out so many refreshing pills at once. You are really generous. This awakening pill is extremely useful for cultivators of your level. You can keep it for yourself. The first elder looked at the spirit awakening pill in his hand and said to Lung Ruoxue. He was very confident in his own cultivation, and he was slightly familiar with arrays. Therefore, he believed that this illusion wouldn't be able to trap him. Great Elder, this medicine is for you in case of an emergency. If we get separated inside, we won't lose our minds when we're trapped in the illusion. Lung Ruoxue chuckled as she explained. After listening to Shui Ying's explanation of the situation in the mystic realm, she began to concoct the Spirit Awakening Pill. After all, the Spirit Awakening Pill's greatest use was to allow one to remain conscious and not be affected by the illusion and do anything wrong. This Spirit Awakening Pill could be considered as the sister pill of the Spirit Congealing Pill because the main ingredient of these 2 pills was agarwood. Therefore, the Spirit Awakening Pill, which might be extremely precious to others, was nothing to her. That's right, just take it. If you get lost inside, ITLL be good for everyone to defend themselves. Why are you being so wishy-washy? The master of the Ning family shouted angrily. It was a gift from his goddaughter, so there was no need to be polite. Although the awakening pill was not particularly useful to him, it was a kind gesture from Shui, so he could not reject it. Thanks, I'm not being shy. The great elder said with an angry face. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. Did this damn thing know how to speak? She actually said that he was being shy. He wasn't a young lady, so why was he being shy? That's just an adjective, meaning that you don't have to be polite. The master of the Ning family said with a smile. Godfather, first elder, let's go in. Seeing that the 2 of them were about to start quarreling again, Lung Ruoxue quickly interjected. Yes. Everyone nodded in agreement. Wait, everyone was about to enter, but they were stopped by Shuang. What's wrong? Lung Ruoxue asked in confusion. That illusion is very powerful. Those who are below the high-level divine realm should take a spirit awakening pill first. Shuang said. After he finished speaking, he ate one first. His words were clearly directed at the Ning family's elders, because in his eyes, the strength of the Ning family's elders was the lowest. Yes. The Ning family's first elder nodded and then ate a spirit awakening pill. The other elders of the Ning family also quickly ate one. Go in. If we are separated after entering, everyone should adapt to the situation. Lung Ruoxue instructed worriedly. After she finished speaking, she took the lead and walked through the glowing portal. After entering the portal, everyone was separated. Only Demon, Yuqing, Ziyu, and Shuang were by Lung Ruoxue's side. The master of the Ning family and the great elder were nowhere to be seen. However, she was not worried about the safety of her godfather and the rest. As for the elders of the Ning family, they could only pray for their own good luck. As she looked at the many paths in front of her, Lung Ruoxue realized that this was not just an illusion, but a maze as well. There were simply too many paths in front of her, so many that she had no choice. She did not even know which path was the safest. Furthermore, within this mystic realm, Qingju was actually unable to investigate the situation here. Snow Shadow, which way should we go? Lung Ruoxue asked for Shui Ying's opinion. I don't know either. I'm afraid the result will be the same no matter which path we take. Let's just take any one. Shui Ying said helplessly. This secret realm was a scam to begin with, so there was no safe path. Then let's take this one. Lung Ruoxue pointed at the path closest to her. Yes. The few of them nodded and did not have any objections to Lung Ruoxue's decision. Chapter 1254. Entering the Secret Realm 2. After that, Lung Ruoxue and the rest followed the path they had chosen. When they first started walking, there was nothing unusual about the path. However, as they walked, Lung Ruoxue and the rest realized that the path in front of them had changed. It had become wider and the cold wind was blowing towards them, bringing with it a dark aura. Master, why did it suddenly become so cold? Yu Qing asked, somewhat puzzled. It should be the illusion. Be careful and don't stray too far from me. Lung Ruoxue warned. Yes. The three of them quickly nodded. However, just as they finished speaking, countless men in black appeared out of thin air. These men in black held sharp weapons in their hands and glared at Lung Ruoxue and the others with a murderous look. In an instant, the men in black charged towards Lung Ruoxue. With a wave of their hands, the men in black fell to the ground. Lung Ruoxue was holding a treasured sword as thin as a cicada's wing. The sword was emitting a heart-palpitating aura. On the blade, a fiery red divine power was circulating around it, wantonly showing off. Ziyu and Yu Qing had long since gotten used to Lung Ruoxue's attacks. This was because they had sparred with Lung Ruoxue back at the Lung family's main residence. Even with Zi's deity emperor level strength, she was unwilling to fight with Lung Ruoxue. From this, it could be seen how difficult she was to deal with. Although Shui Ying had heard the three little foxes talking about their master's perversion, this was the first time he had seen Lung Ruoxue in action. To be honest, he was really shocked. Lung Ruoxue's attacks were ruthless, accurate, and fast. The speed at which she had killed those men in black was just the blink of an eye. Even though a beastie's strength was much stronger than a human at the same level, it was not confident that it could defeat Lung Ruoxue even if Lung Ruoxue's strength was not on par with it. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue's status in its heart had already risen to the level of a pervert. This was because it was very self-aware and knew that it had no way of insta-killing those men in black. After the man in black fell to the ground, Lung Ruoxue and the others watched as the dead man in black turned into a puff of smoke and disappeared before their eyes. They were extremely shocked. They're not real humans? Lung Ruoxue looked at Shui Ying and said in understanding, this illusionary realm is really brilliant. The men in black that were created by the illusion were all at the high level of the divine realm. In the divine mainland, they were definitely unrivaled. After all, even the Ning family, the leader of the 8 great divine realms, could not bring out so many high level of the divine realm at once. No wonder so many forces and beasts were trapped in the illusion. She believed that this was only the beginning. Yes, they were created by an illusion. Moreover, they can't be killed at all, Shui Ying said helplessly. Just as it finished speaking, Lung Ruoxue and the rest saw countless men in black appear once again. Can't you kill him? I'd like to try and see if they really can't be killed. Lung Ruoxue held the cold shadow in her hand as she spoke coldly. Then, several fiery red meteors pounced toward the men in black. In an instant, many of them were turned into ashes. The demon, Ziyu, and Yu Qing were not to be outdone, and they also attacked one after another. Not long after, the black-clothed men who had appeared all disappeared. Shui Ying looked at the combat power of the 4 of them and was so shocked that he could not speak. Fuck, Was this what they called humans will be infuriated by comparisons? Beasts will be infuriated by comparisons? At that time, it had spent a lot of effort to kill these men in black, and these annoying men in black kept appearing in a cycle. So at that time, it had killed for a few days before it finally killed a bloody path. However, looking at the situation in front of them, it seemed that they would be able to walk out of this place in a few days. Shuang, what are you doing? You can't be lazy. The Moon-Eye chuckled and teased when it saw Shui-Ing standing there stupidly. Thanks, He. I'm just scared by you guys. Shuang spoke the truth, his heart dripping with cold sweat. Right now, he was very glad that he was not their enemy. Otherwise, he would probably die without even knowing how he died. You still need more training. Hurry up and do it. Let's leave this place as soon as possible. Ziyu said with a smile. He had long been used to being beaten by his own young miss, so he understood Shui-Ying's feelings very well. Yes, Snow Shadow replied, and then joined the battle. The men in black appeared again and again. Lung Ruoxue and the others killed as many men in black as they appeared. After about 4 hours, the men in black finally stopped appearing. After waiting for a while, Lung Ruoxue saw that the men in black did not appear again. She then said to the demon and the rest, "Let's continue our journey." Yes. Everyone nodded and continued to move forward. Miss Lung, there might be some dark creatures in front of us. So, everyone be careful. Snow Shadow reminded them after they reached the fork in the road. What kind of dark creatures? Lung Ruoxue was very curious. From what she knew, dark creatures should be synonymous with hell, right? How could it appear in the divine realm? I can't tell. The dark aura of those guys is very strong, and it's very corrosive, so don't get close to them. Snow Shadow explained. I'd like to see what kind of dark creatures dare to come to the divine realm. By the way, are those dark creatures just illusions like the man in black? The demon also asked. No, those dark creatures are real. Furthermore, they're all very powerful. Each of them has the power of a high-level deity, Snow Shadow said after some thought. Since he only has the strength of a high-level deity, then there's nothing to be afraid of. Shui will be able to settle it with a fire. The demon said disapprovingly. The number of dark creatures is not much less than the men in black. Shui-Ing said, Hee, it doesn't matter. The more the better, just enough for us to kill to our heart's content. The demon smiled indifferently. Well, let's just take a random road. Lung Ruoxue suggested as she looked at the numerous small paths in front of her. Master, let's go this way. I have a good impression of this place. The Moon-Eye pointed at the road to her left. Then let's go. Lung Ruoxue replied nonchalantly. When Snow Shadow heard Moon-Eye's words, his forehead was covered in cold sweat. He thought to himself, in fact, the result is the same no matter which path we take. That's why, no matter how good I feel about them, I'll still encounter those annoying dark creatures. Chapter 1255, Entering the Secret Realm 3. Sure enough, not long after they left, the dark creatures that they had been waiting for appeared in batches. These dark creatures had huge bodies and strange shapes. They came in all shapes and sizes, and many of them had no eyes. To be more precise, he didn't know where their eyes were. Lung Ruoxue looked at the dark creatures in front of her and felt extremely disgusted. What the hell were these things? Not only were they ugly, their bodies were also flowing with a dark green liquid and giving off a strong stench. No matter how she looked at it, they were comparable to the vengeful spirits they had encountered before. No, it was more disgusting than those vengeful spirits. Meanwhile, the demon's pitch-black starry eyes were staring at the dark creatures that had appeared in the firmament. He was filled with anger. Shui, you can't let any of these things live. The demon said calmly. Yes, let's start. With Lung Ruoxue's order, the few of them who were already prepared immediately started to attack. Lung Ruoxue was in charge of purifying these dark creatures. The few of them worked together and worked together tacitly. Not long after, many of the dark creatures were exterminated. Let's continue forward, Shui-Ing said. Will these dark creatures appear again? Lung Ruoshu asked out of curiosity. I don't think so. Last time I only came this far. I'm not sure what's in front of me. Shuang said, a little embarrassed. Then let's continue. Since we're here, we must figure out the secret behind this secret realm. Lung Ruoshua said. Yes. No one had any objections. After that, everyone continued on their journey. After walking around the secret realm for half a day, other than the occasional black-robed man, Lung Ruoshua and the rest did not see any dark creatures or other strange things. However, none of them dared to let their guard down. As they walked, Lung Ruoshua and the others came to a garden. The garden had 100 flowers in full bloom and 100 birds chirping. The scenery was extremely pleasant. Even Lung Ruoshua and the rest were mesmerized by the beautiful scenery in the garden. They found a stone chair in the garden and sat down. Then 2 beautiful maidservants came out of nowhere and served them tea. Please don't stand on ceremony. For you to be able to come here, it's also fate that you have with my master. One of the maidservants said with a smile, May I know who your master is? Lung Ruokshu's beautiful face was filled with curiosity. Young miss, don't worry. Master is busy now and can't meet you in person. When he's done, he will naturally meet you. The maidservant quickly said, Oh, you mean we have to wait here for your master? Lung Ruoshua chuckled as she asked. Hee. The scenery here is so beautiful, so it's not impossible for you to stay here. The maidservant reminded, That's true. Lung Ruoshua nodded in agreement. Thanks, everyone. Please don't stand on ceremony. My master has especially ordered me to prepare these for you. Don't let down my master's good intentions. The maidservants urged Lung Ruoshua and the rest to eat. However, no one moved. They only smiled at the 2 maidservants. Your master is so hospitable. How should we repay him? Lung Ruoshua asked with a smile. Hee. My master has always been a good host. He doesn't need you to repay him, as long as you're grateful. The maidservant said, Oh. Lung Ruoshua responded softly, but she couldn't help but sneer in her heart. She was just treating them to a meal, and she wanted them to be grateful. Did these people think they were fools? You guys should eat quickly. Don't be polite. Seeing that Lung Ruoshua and the rest were still not making a move, the maidservant could not help but ask anxiously, Let's put it there first. We're not hungry yet. We'll eat when we're hungry. Lung Ruoshua chuckled. All of you can leave first. We'll call you if we need anything. Lung Ruoshua then said impolitely, Hee. It was these 2 maidservants who told them not to be polite, so she would naturally treat them like servants. Then we'll take our leave first. If Miss and the others need anything, you can call us at any time. One of the maidservants said with a difficult expression. She was very anxious in her heart, but since the other party was not willing to eat, they could not force him to eat. Seeing the 2 maidservants leave the garden unwillingly, Ziyu secretly sent a voice transmission to Lung Ruoshua. Miss, this place is too abnormal. We have to be more careful. Well, the 2 maidservants just now are not real human beings, so I'm really curious about what kind of thing their master is. Since they are so hospitable, let's stay here for the time being. Lung Ruoshua transmitted her voice to everyone, following which Lung Ruoshua and the rest settled down in this mysterious place. 3 days later, the maidservant came to pass on a message, saying that their master could see them. They followed the maidservant to the study room. Lung Ruoshua and the rest finally met their mysterious master. In the study room, a young man was sitting on a chair and smiling at them. The man looked to be in his early 20s and was extremely handsome. On the surface, he seemed to be a high-level deity. After seeing them, the man stood up and warmly invited them to sit down. After that, everyone began to chat. However, when Lung Ruoshua asked him what this place was, the man tried to avoid the topic and change the topic skillfully. Young Master Wang, you still haven't answered my question. Lung Ruoshua chuckled. The man in front of them claimed that his surname was Wang, and he was from the Wang family of the God World. However, they had never been to the God World before, so they naturally had no way of judging the authenticity of this man's words. Miss Lung, to be honest, I don't know where this is either. When I woke up, I was already here. The man explained. Oh, Did this mean that young Master Wang had sleepwalked to this place? Or are you still in a dream? Lung Ruoxue asked, unwilling to let him go. What is sleepwalking? The man who claimed to be surnamed Wang asked with a question mark on his face. I just fell asleep and ended up here. Lung Ruoxue's forehead was full of black lines. It seemed that the people of the immortal realm didn't know what dreamwalking was, even though the person in front of him might not be human. Chapter 1256. Entering the Secret Realm 4. Oh, then I should be considered to have sleepwalked, the man said with certainty. Then, does young Master Wang know how to return to the divinity? Lung Ruoxue probed. Why should I return to the divine realm? Isn't this the divine realm? The man said in shock. This is the godly land. Lung Ruoxue was very honest. How is this possible? The man's handsome face was filled with disbelief. What's impossible about it? Besides, it said that this is a secret realm. However, apart from some nauseating things, we didn't find anything like a secret realm. As Lung Ruoxue spoke, she observed the man's reaction. She also noticed that when she mentioned the nauseating things, the man's expression was a little unnatural. Oh, really? Although I've been living here for a few days, I've rarely left this garden. Miss Lung, when you leave, it'll go with you. I also want to see what this secret realm looks like. The man's face showed a strong curiosity. All right, let's leave now. This secret realm doesn't look small, and there are many places I haven't been to. Lung Ruoxue said impatiently. Okay, then I'll go pack my things. After the man finished speaking, he stood up and left the study. As she watched the man's back, Ziyu transmitted a message with some worry. Miss, are we really bringing him along? Aren't you curious about what he is? Didn't we wait for a few days just to figure out his identity? What a great opportunity this was. If I don't bring him along, I don't know when I'll be able to meet a decent human next time. I don't want to communicate with those disgusting creatures. Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly. Of course I'm curious, but I feel uneasy bringing him along. Ziyu said worriedly. What are you afraid of? We'll deal with whatever comes our way. No matter what he is, he won't be able to escape our grasp. Lung Ruoxue said confidently. Seeing her lady so confident, Ziyu didn't say anything more. After all, he was a divine emperor. If Miss wasn't afraid, then he wouldn't be afraid either. However, it was necessary to be more vigilant. After a while, the young man had finished packing and returned to the study room. He smiled at Lung Ruoxue and the rest. Miss Lung, I've packed everything. Let's go. Thanks, all right, he said. Lung Ruoxue and the rest acknowledged. Following that, they stood up and left the fairyland-like garden. Along the way, they had gained a few more companions. After they left the garden, Lung Ruoxue and the rest walked in front while chatting and laughing. Young Master Wang and his two maidservants followed closely behind them. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue turned around and smiled at the young man. Young Master Wang, why are you all walking so slowly? Could it be that you've been attracted by the beautiful scenery on the road? Miss Lung really likes to joke. This road is so bare that not even a tree can be seen. Where is the beautiful scenery to admire, ah? The man's face was full of smiles as he calmly replied. You're right. However, you're walking too slowly. If you continue like this, I'm afraid we'll have to spend the night on this road. Lung Ruoxue reminded him with a smile. Miss Lung, it's getting late. Why don't we find a place to spend the night? It doesn't matter if I'm a man, but I can't let you women sleep in the wilderness. The man said considerately. All right. Lung Ruoxue nodded in agreement. This so-called secret realm was divided into day and night. The men in black and the dark creatures that they had encountered when they first entered the secret realm appeared during the day. As for what would appear at night, they were very curious. After all, they had stayed at the man's place for 3 days and had been safe and sound. The group found a relatively spacious and clean place to set up their tents. The young man then instructed his two maidservants to prepare some food. However, Lung Ruoxue and the rest did not dare to eat the food they prepared. After giving an excuse that they were not hungry, Lung Ruoxue and the rest prepared to return to the tent. Their tent was large enough to accommodate all of them and the huge fox. Seeing that they were about to enter the tent, one of the maidservants couldn't help but speak up. "You're all going to live in the same tent." The maidservant's eyes widened as she asked in disbelief, "Is there a problem?" Lung Ruashua chuckled as she retorted, "That's not very appropriate." The maidservant said softly. In her heart, she despised Lung Ruashua and the rest's behavior. In her opinion, these humans were too messy. How could they all live together? There was even a fox among them. What's inappropriate about that? They're all my people and my beasts, and they have to serve me at night. It's more convenient to live together. Lung Ruashua laughed evilly, but she couldn't help but think in her heart, if we don't live together, it'll be so convenient for you guys to take action, and she would not let these people succeed so easily. Chapter 1257. Walking into the trap. 1. When a maidservant heard Lung Ruakshu's words, she was a little angry. However, she could not say anything to refute her. After all, she was only a maidservant. When Lung Ruashua saw that no one was stopping her, she led the evil demon and the rest into the tent. Looking at Lung Ruashua and the rest's back view, the maidservant had a depressed look on her face. She could not help but ask, "What do we do now?" "They're too careful. They won't fall for our tricks." "We can only wait," the man said with a frown. "You'd better deal with these people quickly. Otherwise, if Master blames you, you'll have a good time." The maidservant seemed to have changed into a different person as she ordered. "It's been a few days, and you guys don't have any good ideas, do you? We're on the same boat now. If Master blames me, do you think you can escape?" The man suppressed his anger and reminded, "We're just cooperating with you. You're in charge of this matter, so don't try to push the blame on us." The other maidservant said, "No matter how you quibble, you're all tied to me. No one can escape this responsibility." The man reminded, "Let's not quarrel anymore. Let's think of a good way to lead them to the master." The man said, "Will they be fooled? They don't even want to touch our food." The maidservant's face was clouded with worry. She hated Lung Ruashua and the others to the core. Initially, they had wanted the other party to eat the food so that they could bring the few of them to their master. However, the other party did not fall for it at all. Furthermore, those people were always together, causing them to not have the chance to sow discord even if they wanted to. "If we really can't do it, we'll wait for them to fall asleep. Then, well," the man whispered to the two maidservants, as if he had made a decision. "This won't do. Have you forgotten what Master told you to do?" The maidservant reminded them disapprovingly. Their master had told them all that anyone who came in had to be alive. This way, the effect would be better. Therefore, no matter how powerful the black-clothed men and dark creatures in this secret realm were, they would not harm their lives. At most, they would be exhausted and unable to escape and would be trapped inside. However, they had other ways to deal with people like Lung Ruashua who were strong. Their motive for getting close to Lung Ruashua and the others was to gain their trust and to lure them to their master. Unfortunately, the master did not follow their plan. "I didn't want to kill them, I just wanted to knock them out." "What are you thinking?" The man explained. "That won't do, right? Master wants him to be clear-headed." The maidservant said, the knockout powder given by their master was not allowed to be used unless they were forced. She knew how terrifying and vicious her master was, so she did not dare to disobey her master's words. "Let's bring them to Master's place first. They'll naturally wake up in a few days." The man reminded, but in his heart, he was full of contempt for the so-called master. He said that they were not allowed to kill people and not allowed to knock people out easily. However, were there few people who died in this secret realm? How many people had killed each other because of the illusion? Why did Master think of not letting those people die at that time? To put it bluntly, wasn't it because Master despised those people's low strength and didn't get many benefits from them? Otherwise, how could he bear to let them die? All right then, that's the only way. The two maidservants looked at each other and said helplessly, sigh. The people they had encountered were too difficult to deal with. Otherwise, they wouldn't have used such an extreme method. The three of them sat outside the tent and waited until late at night. They estimated that Lung Rawashue and the rest should be asleep by now, so they threw a pill into the tent. After waiting for a while, the three of them barged into the tent and tied Lung Rawashue and the rest up. Following that, one of the maidservants shot a signal flare into the sky. Not long after, a group of men in black arrived, lifted Lung Rawashue and the rest up, and left the place. When Lung Rawashue and the others slowly woke up, they realized that they were all in the prison. They looked at each other, and joy flashed in their eyes. "Thanks, Master, where is this? I'm so scared." Yuqing tugged at Lung Rawashue's arm and said with a fearful expression, "Don't be afraid. I don't know where we are either." Lung Rawashue calmly consoled Yuqing, but she couldn't help but laugh in her heart. She didn't expect Yuqing's acting skills to be so good. It seemed like the beasts around her all had a talent for acting. "I'm also scared." Seeing this, Shui Ying's fluffy head moved closer to Lung Rawashue's side. Just as he was about to rest his head on Lung Rawashue's shoulder, he was stopped by a pair of large hands. The demon stared at Snow Shadow, and the two of them communicated silently with their eyes. "That's my woman, stay away." The demon warned with his eyes. "I'm scared," Snow Shadow replied with its eyes, feeling very wronged. In other words, it only wanted to seek comfort. "That won't do either. You'll have to rely on someone else," the demon replied. Looking at the two's flickering eyes, the others tactfully turned their heads away. The demon directly pushed Shui Ying into Ziyu's arms and said, "It's scared. You should comfort it." Ziyu looked at the huge, furry snow fox that was half lying in her arms, and her forehead was full of black lines. After she came back to her senses, she hurriedly pushed Shui Ying out of her arms. "You guys are too unsympathetic." Seeing that Ziyu was disdainful of her, Shui Ying said with tears in his eyes, "I'm not interested in male beasts." Ziyu said, a little speechless, "So be it if you're afraid. Why are you in someone else's arms? It was so mushy. Please comfort me." Shui Ying looked at Lung Rawashue with tears in her eyes. "Be good. I'm not afraid. I'll buy you some candy later." Lung Rawashue patted Shui Ying's head like she was petting a puppy as she consoled her. "Ha ha." When they heard Lung Rawashue's words, the demon and the rest could not help but laugh. Yes, Big Brother will buy you candy later." The demon laughed evilly. As for whether his candy was edible or not, it was none of his business. "You guys look pretty calm." Suddenly, a woman's voice rang in their ears. Without even looking, Lung Rawashue and the rest knew that the owner of the voice was one of the two maidservants. Chapter 1258. Walking in the Trap 2. What can I do if I'm not calm? Lung Rawashue raised her beautiful eyes and smiled. "That's true. My master wants to see you. Come with me." The maidservant looked down at Lung Rawashue and opened the cell door. "All right," he said. Lung Rawashue and the rest stood up and were about to follow the maidservant. However, they were stopped by the maidservant. "My master only wants to see Lung Rawashue. As for the rest of you, you'd better stay here obediently." After the maidservant finished speaking, she pulled Lung Rawashue out of the cell. Then, another bang was heard. He closed the cell door, which was automatically locked. Lung Rawashue turned around and gave evildoer and the rest a consoling look. She then followed behind the maidservant and went to meet her so-called master. After following the maidservant and making a few turns, Lung Rawashue was finally brought to a resplendent and grand hall. The hall was majestic and imposing. The guards at the entrance were all wearing shiny golden armor. They were all advanced gods, the top cultivation on the godly mainland. Following the maidservant into the main hall, Lung Rawashue saw an extremely handsome young man sitting on the throne in the middle of the main hall. This young man looked to be in his early 20s, and his powers were unfathomable. His bright, starry eyes were looking at her with deep emotions. Lung Rawashue looked at the man in front of her. For some reason, she felt that he looked familiar. However, she was certain that she had never seen him before. "Miss Lung, please take a seat," the young man said with a warm smile. I didn't expect you to have a new master so soon. Lung Rawashu glanced at the maidservant who had brought her here and spoken differently. Then, she randomly found a seat and sat down. Of course, she had deliberately chosen the seat that was furthest away from the man. Miss Lung, you've misunderstood. I've never changed my master. The one you saw before was just my partner. The maidservant explained. Oh, this must be your real master. Lung Rawashua confirmed. She didn't want to waste her efforts. After all, it wasn't easy to meet the person behind this secret realm. Yes, I am. The maidservant nodded. You can leave first. The young man said to the maidservant, unwilling to be ignored. Yes. The maidservant replied and quickly left the hall. Lung Rawashua watched as her maidservant ran away as if she was running for her life. She lifted her beautiful eyes and looked indifferently at the young man on the throne. She did not speak for a long time, and the young man was waiting for Lung Rawashua to take the initiative to speak. In an instant, the atmosphere turned heavy. The man's starry eyes were fixed on Lung Rawashua, but Lung Rawashua was only looking at the ground. This made the man a little angry. Miss Lung, aren't you curious about where this place is? The young man couldn't help but ask with a faint smile. I'm not curious, Lung Rawashua said disapprovingly. What did this place have to do with her? She only needed to find the person behind the scenes and rescue her grandfather and the others who might be trapped here. Thanks, Lung Rawashu's words left the young man at a loss as to how to continue. He was secretly angry. Why didn't this woman play by the rules? Couldn't she just go along with what she said? How was he supposed to answer her with such an answer? Then aren't you curious about what kind of treatment you and the others will receive? The young man asked again, unwilling to give up. If you want to tell me, you will tell me. If you don't want to tell me, I won't force you. Lung Rawashua replied calmly. They'll show you something good. The man didn't want to keep her in suspense any longer. He spoke to Lung Rawashua directly because he knew that he couldn't do anything to this woman. Lung Rawashua would never follow his arrangements. Yes. Lung Rawashua nodded. He was a standard good kid who would do whatever he was told to do. Furthermore, he didn't have any objections. The young man waved his hand gently, and a few huge screens appeared in front of Lung Rawashua. The screens displayed the situation in the mystic realm, and the Ning family's master and the rest were among them. On the screen, Master Ning and the rest were trying their best to kill the men in black. On the other screen, the Great Elder had already begun to kill the dark creatures. However, they were obviously exhausted, while the men in black and the dark creatures kept appearing again and again. Miss Lung, you must know these people on the screen, right? The young man asked with a faint smile. So what if you know him? So what if I don't know him? Lung Rawashua asked instead of answering. If Miss Lung knows them, I can let them live. Otherwise, they can only die. The young man said matter-of-factly. Oh, you're willing to kill them? Lung Rawashua asked curiously. Why not? I don't quite understand what you mean, Miss Lung. The young man had a face full of question marks, but his heart was filled with uncertainty. Could he have given himself away and let Lung Rawashua see that he would not kill these people? I heard from your maidservant that you want to capture us alive. You have other uses for us. Lung Rawashua chuckled. Her words were half true and half false. She knew that these people really wanted to capture them alive, but as for what they would do after capturing them, she had yet to figure out. Ha! I didn't expect that I would be betrayed by a little maidservant. Originally, I wanted to make Miss Lung owe me a favor. The young man said with a smile on his face. In fact, he was extremely resentful. Since Miss Lung knows that I won't kill them, then do you want to know what I want to do with them? The young man asked again. They'll still say the same thing. If you want to say it, then say it. If you don't want to say it, I won't force you. Lung Rawashua said disapprovingly. Miss Lung, you really do understand my heart. All right, he'll tell you. The young man sighed and said helplessly. With that, he raised his hand again, and the scene on the screen in front of Lung Rawashua changed. The screen in front of her showed the people who were trapped in the secret realm. Many of them looked like they were in great pain. Not only that, but their spirits were also very dispirited and their faces were frighteningly pale. Their bodies looked very weak, and the divine power in their bodies was constantly being sucked into a huge round ball. Their blood was flowing into the pool made of white jade not far away. The blood had only filled up 1/3 of the wound. Chapter 1259. Walking into the trap. 3. What infuriated Lung Ruashua was that her grandfather and the rest were also in the light screen. However, compared to the others, their condition was still considered better. At least, their minds were completely clear. As for the others, their eyes were in a daze, clearly not knowing what they were doing. What were they doing? Lung Ruashua suppressed the anger in her heart and pretended to be confused. Miss Lung, can't you tell? I'm collecting their divine power and blood. The young man said with a smile, as if he was saying today's weather is very good. Of course I can see that. What I mean is, what's the use of you collecting their divine power and blood? Could it be that you want to absorb it yourself? Lung Ruashua asked curiously. Ha ha! Miss Lung is finally curious. When the young man heard Lung Ruashua's words, he was extremely happy. Everyone knows their curiosity. If you don't want to say it, I naturally won't force you. Lung Ruashua was very calm. If I tell you, what do I get in return? The young man asked with a faint smile. No, I didn't tea. Lung Ruashua was a little speechless. She thought to herself, is there something wrong with this guy? He's actually asking for benefits from me? Miss Lung, do you have to be so direct? I'm so sad. The young man's handsome face revealed an aggrieved expression as he complained. I don't like to beat around the bush. Lung Ruashua answered honestly. Yeah, all right then. Let me tell you, it's my master who needs their divine power and blood. I'm just following orders. The young man explained with a helpless expression. You have a master? Lung Ruashua was depressed. After all this man was still not the biggest mastermind. When she thought of this, she was a little reluctant to deal with this man. She secretly contacted Qing Ju and her baby. Sister, do you want to read his mind? Qing Ju transmitted his voice. His cute little face was filled with certainty. Yes, let baby search his soul. I want to know who his master is. What's their purpose in doing all this? Lung Ruashua said. Initially, she didn't want to let Bao Bao and Qing Ju do anything. After all, they didn't know anything about this place. If they were found out, it would be bad. However, after unknown that the man in front of her wasn't the real mastermind and seeing the torture that her grandfather and the others were going through, she changed her mind. She wanted to save her grandfather and the others as soon as possible. Therefore, she didn't have the patience to pretend to be nice to this man. All right, he said. Yes, Qing Ju replied. Then he used his mind-reading technique to peek into the young man's mind. However, to his disappointment, he did not find any useful clues. Instead, he saw that this man was trying to hit on his sister. This made him secretly angry. After that, he handed over the task that his sister had given him to the baby. Through the bangle, a cold light flashed in the baby's eyes, and the soul-searching skill was activated. After a while, Bao Bao panted heavily, and the fur on its body was drenched in sweat. It was not strong enough now, so it was a little difficult to perform the soul-searching technique. This man's strength was above its own, so it was even more difficult to search the soul. Fortunately, it had completed its task. Bao Bao informed Lung Ruashua of the results of its investigation, and then returned to its own residence to rest. It had used up too much energy and needed a good sleep. This was also one of the reasons why Lung Ruashua did not want it to search its soul so easily. Thanks, yes, my master is great. Are you interested in serving my master? The young man suggested with a smile. No, I didn't tea. Lung Ruashua rejected him without even thinking. Oomph. She didn't think that a person who could come up with such an evil method could be great. She was afraid that if she pledged loyalty to such a master, she would die without a complete corpse. Moreover, she didn't need a master. You'll regret it. I really don't want you to die slowly like these people. The young man looked regretful. It was a pity that everything here was under the master's surveillance. Therefore, even if he wanted to do something, It was impossible to protect the woman in front of him. He really didn't want to see such a beautiful woman slowly grow old until she passed away. I won't die if I pledge my loyalty to your master. Lung Ruoshu asked with a calm smile. At least I can save your life. The young man said, please send me back to my cell. Those who walk different paths cannot conspire together. Lung Ruoshu didn't want to waste any more time with this man. In any case, she already knew what she wanted to know. It'll give you a few days to think about it. The young man couldn't bear to say this. No need. I don't think your master will like me. Lung Ruoshu rejected him once again. Someone, escort Miss Lung back to her cell. The young man did not answer Lung Ruoshu. Instead, he instructed the guards outside. Yes, yes, master. The guard replied and escorted Lung Ruoshu back to her cell. After Lung Ruoshu returned to her cell, she did not say anything. When the others saw this, they naturally did not ask anything either. Just like that, they spent 5 days in the cell. During these 5 days, no one came to disturb them. The morning of the 6th day, before Lung Ruoshu and the rest could open their eyes, the young man's servant girl had already arrived. The maidservant looked at Lung Ruoshu and the rest arrogantly and asked, Miss Lung, master asked me to ask you if you have considered the matter he asked you to consider. There's no need to consider. I won't agree. Lung Ruoshu said with a smile. You're refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. If that's the case, then don't blame my master for being merciless. The maidservant said viciously. Immediately, she ordered the men in black to bring Lung Ruoshu and the rest away. Lung Ruoshu and the rest had their hands and feet bound. They were escorted by the men in black to a secret room. This secret room was the one that Lung Ruoshu had seen through the light screen. The secret chamber was huge and contained hundreds of people. Many of them had already passed out, but they were still alive. The detestable thing about these men in black was that they would not let the trapped people die easily. Unless they extracted all the divine power and blood from the trapped people, they would not let the matter rest. Lung Ruoshu also knew the purpose of the men in black collecting the divine power and blood. Hence, she felt even more disgusted by their actions. Chapter 1260. Walking into the trap for. However, what was even more unforgivable was that these people had imprisoned her grandfather and her subordinates. Therefore, these men in black must die. As for their master behind the scenes, she was afraid that she could only wait for the future because she was not that person's opponent now. The leader of the men in black, who was in charge of watching over the trapped men in the secret chamber, was overjoyed when he saw Lung Ruoshu and the rest. He could not help but size them up and said, These newcomers are pretty good. Such a beautiful woman. How could Master bear to let her suffer here? She refused a toast and wanted to drink a forfeit. Master had no choice. However, Master said that you should take care of her and not let her die too quickly. The maidservant who had come with Lung Ruoshu and the others said with a hint of jealousy, Don't worry, he'll definitely take good care of her. I like to have tender and protective feelings for women the most. The black-clothed man said with a squint, Take care of yourself. Don't forget that everything here is within Master's control. The maidservant warned. With that, she turned and left the secret room. After the servant girl left, the black-robed man loudly ordered the other black-robed men, Take this fox and the 2 men over there. He'll look after the 2 women myself. Yes, yes, the other men in black replied. Then they pushed the snow shadow, indicating for it to walk faster. Don't touch me. He'll bite you. Shui-Ing roared in anger. Fuck, was this considered as a fox falling into the peaceful sun and being bullied by a dog? If they didn't want to get into this place, they wouldn't have to suffer like this. After saving the people, it would definitely teach these men in black a good lesson. Damn it, a stinky fox dares to scare me. When a man in black heard Shui-Ying's words, he couldn't help but curse loudly. After cursing, he even raised his leg to kick Shui-Ying. However, Shui-Ying dodged it nimbly and the man in black's kick landed on his companion's body. Because he had used too much force, he fell flat on his face. Ha ha! Grandson, you don't have to give me such a big bow. I appreciate it. Looking at the black-clothed man who had just fallen in front of him, Shui-ing laughed out loud. Thanks, fuck. Stinky fox, if I don't teach you a lesson today, it'll change my surname to yours. The man in black was furious. The consequences were very serious. He held a knife that emitted a cold light and chased after Snow Shadow without caring about his image. Although the Snow Shadow's hands and feet were bound, it was unusually agile. It dodged left and right, and the black-clothed men who were chasing it could not get close to it at all. When the other black-clothed men saw this, they also helped to surround and block it. The Snow Shadow's thick tail gently swept, and suddenly, the black-clothed men fell to the ground. You're really useless. My hands and feet are bound, and you can't even catch me. What's the use of keeping such trash like you around? You should commit suicide as soon as possible to atone for your sins. Shui-ing said with a face full of ridicule. After saying that, his large tail began to sweep in all directions. In an instant, a gust of wind blew in the secret room. Those humans and beasts that were sucked in by the huge ball were also affected and lost their connection with the ball. The weak ones directly fainted on the ground, while a portion of those with relatively strong willpower recovered a part of their consciousness. However, they still had a confused expression, as if they could not remember where they were at all. Lung Ruoshua looked at the man in black who was hopping mad, and secretly gave Shui-ing a look. Shui-ing understood and immediately jumped around even more happily. Not long after, the entire secret chamber was in a mess because of it. More and more people and beasts broke free from the sphere's control. Lung Ruoshua took advantage of the chaos to approach her grandfather and the rest. She called out softly, "Grandpa, are you guys still able to hold on? Shui, why are you here? Leave this place quickly. These people are all demons." The weakling Qing Tian saw his precious granddaughter and quickly whispered, "I'm here to save you. Don't make a sound." Lung Ruoshua reminded. With that, a cold light flashed on her hand and cut off the connection between her grandfather and the others in the giant ball. Then, with a thought, she kept her grandfather and the others into her bracelet. After silently doing all this, she returned to the side of the evildoer and the rest as if nothing had happened. Then, she winked at them, and everyone started to enjoy the show of Shui-ing toying with the man in black. After a long time, seeing that the secret room was almost destroyed by it, the Snow Shadow stopped and no longer ran around. The men in black who had fallen to the ground because of the exhaustion from chasing it were directly kicked into the white jade blood pool. Chapter 1261. The tables have turned. 1. The exhausted men in black struggled to climb out of the blood pool. However, Shui-ing would not give them a chance. As soon as they showed their heads, his huge feet would kick them back into the blood pool. The leader of the men in black saw this and was so angry that he almost fainted. After a while, he panted and growled, "You dare to dirty Master's blood pool. Master will not let you off. You're wrong. You're the ones who dirted the pool, not us." Shui-ing laughed evilly as he stepped on the man in black who fell into the blood pool. He was having a lot of fun. You're all looking for death." The leader of the men in black roared in anger. He was very depressed, but he couldn't understand why this was happening. Wasn't this stinky fox under control? Why would this secret chamber be in such a mess? Moreover, Master should have known about the situation here long ago. Why hasn't he arrived after so long? We're not looking for death. We want you to die. Lung Ruoshua said with a smile. You want us to die? You're dreaming. My master is incomparably powerful. You're definitely not his match. The leader of the men in black said confidently. Oh, really? Then why hasn't your extremely powerful master arrived yet? Lung Ruoshua asked curiously. My master must have been delayed by something. When he comes, it will be the time of your death. The leader of the men in black threatened. He'll wait and see. Lung Ruoshua smiled mysteriously. Then, she gave Shui-ing a look. Shui-ing understood and immediately broke the restraints on his body. A cold glint flashed across his sharp claws. In an instant, the necks of the men in black in the blood pool were all cut open, and they died instantly. Seeing this, the leader of the men in black felt a splitting heartache. One had to know that these people were all his subordinates. Moreover, they were all alive and human. They were definitely not the illusionary black-robed men that had been created by the illusion. In addition, these subordinates had followed him for a long time. Therefore, when he saw them die with his own eyes, his heart was really in extreme pain. "It's only you now. Do you have any last words?" The snow shadow looked at the leader of the men in black and laughed evilly. It had not forgotten that the group of men in black who had chased after it were with them. Therefore, out of hatred, it naturally would not let these people have an easy time. Now that the blood pool had been destroyed, they would destroy the abominable ball in a while. Even if they did not kill these lackeys, these men in black would not live long. It seemed like they had to do something good. "You will regret killing us. Master will definitely avenge us." The leader of the men in black's eyes glowed with a fierce light, filled with hatred. He still could not understand how they had been controlled by someone else. These people were clearly their prisoners. "Are you sure? You're just a dog of that so-called master of yours. Do you think he'll spare no effort to avenge you?" Shuang asked with a look of disbelief. "Of course. Master won't ignore us," the leader of the men in black said with confidence. "Oh, really? I'm afraid your master can't even save himself now." Lung Ruoxua laughed coldly. She knew very well that the master of the man in black was referring to was the young man. However, since they had come to the divine mainland, she had no intention of letting any of them return to the divine world alive. "Impossible. My master is extremely powerful. You are no match for him." The leader of the men in black was very certain. "Thanks, since you don't believe me. I can only let you see it with your own eyes." Lung Ruoxua chuckled. With a wave of her hand, a screen of light appeared in front of the leader of the men in black. In the main hall, the young man was surrounded by the master of the Ning family and the first elder of the Craftsmen's Guild. The young man looked at the two strange, old men in front of him. He was puzzled. These people only had the strength of a high-level deity, but why did they give him such a strange feeling? Furthermore, after seeing them in person, this feeling became even stronger. At the same time, he was very clear that these people were in cahoots with Lung Ruoxua. However, even if they were here to save Lung Ruoxua, he would not allow them to succeed. Lung Ruoxua was destined to be his. He would not hand her over to someone else. In fact, he had lived in the divine realm for many years, so it was impossible for him not to know the master of the Ning family and the great elder of the Craftsmen's Guild. The reason why he didn't recognize these two people was that they were both in disguise. Before they came to this mystic realm, Lung Ruoxua was afraid that they would be recognized by the master of this mystic realm just in case. Hence, she had specially made them each take a disguise pill. Now, their disguise came in handy. If this young man recognized their identity, how could he have underestimated his enemy? I say, "Old man, this kid's eyes are constantly moving around. Is he thinking of some bad idea?" The great elder looked at the indifferent young man with a smile and teased. "That's for sure. He must be thinking about how to escape from our encirclement." The master of the Ning family said with certainty. "Oomph. Do I need to run away? This is my territory, but I'm curious. How did you find this place?" Although the young man had doubts in his heart, he still looked very calm on the surface. "Do you want to know? We're not telling you," the first elder said with an evil smile. "Am I right? We won't tell you, but we can tell you that you won't have the chance to escape. You're dead today." The master of the Ning family said very cooperatively. The two of them really had a tacit understanding when they played with people, and there was no need to discuss it in advance. "Aren't you guys a little too confident?" The young man sneered, not taking the words of the two old men to heart. "So what if I'm confident? You're even more confident than us, isn't it?" First elder quickly asked. "Should I not be confident?" The young man retorted angrily. This was his territory. If he couldn't even be confident in his own territory, then he might as well commit suicide. "Of course not. You should be more humble. You shouldn't be too arrogant. This is wrong." The first elder said with a heavy tone. Chapter 1262. The tables have turned, too. Old man, why are you talking so much nonsense with him? Hurry up and kill him. I still want to go back and eat the girl's cooking. The master of the Ning family said impatiently. You all really deserve to die. When a young man saw the two old men in front of him discussing his life and death in front of him, he was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Fuck, aren't they bullying me? After all, he was a local tyrant. How could he be bullied by two outsiders? When he thought of this, his heart was boiling with anger, and his killing intent rose. With a wave of his hand, countless men in black appeared in the hall. The master of the Ning family and the first elder looked at each other and laughed. They had been waiting for these black-robed men to appear for a long time. Previously, most of the black-robed men they had killed were illusions, so killing them was not satisfying at all. Now these were all real humans. Looking at the happy expressions of the two extremely ugly old men in front of him, the doubts in the young man's heart grew even greater, and he couldn't help but secretly think to himself, fuck, could it be that these two old men have been scared silly? Why was he not afraid when he saw his subordinates? Instead, he was so excited. However, he was overconfident in his own strength. Therefore, he was certain that these people who came to die were all pretending to be calm. In fact, they were all afraid in their hearts. He couldn't help but think that he was right. Go, kill these people, the young man ordered. He had originally planned to keep these people alive to make a contribution to his master, but after being humiliated by these two damn old men, he changed his mind. None of these people in front of him should think about living. He was going to kill them now. Yes, yes, master. The men in black replied in unison, and then pounced at the master of the Ning family and the first elder. After the people of the Ning family and the man in black fought, the master of the Ning family and the great elder found an opportunity to withdraw from the battle. Then the two of them stood in front of the young man. The only person they wanted to deal with was this man. You guys are not worthy of being my opponents, the young man said arrogantly. The same, both of them. We don't think you're qualified to be our opponent, but my subordinates are all like wolves and tigers. If I snatch your subordinates from them, they'll be unhappy. So, they'll have to trouble you. The master of the Ning family laughed evilly. Yes, you should be proud that this old thing is going to fight you. As for me, they'll just watch the battle. Otherwise, I will be angry. The great elder pushed the master of the Ning family out to be a hatchet man. After he finished speaking, he jumped out of the range of the two people, clapping and cheering on the side. Looking at his excitement, he was just short of holding the small flag and dancing. You old thing, want to be lazy again? How hateful. Master Ning roared, but he still attacked the young man in resignation. Thanks, the young man felt Master Ning's powerful chi and was shocked. He quickly set up a defensive barrier for himself. However, he still couldn't resist Master Ning's majestic attack and could only dodge in all directions. Not long after, he was in a sorry state. Who are you? The young man frowned and stared at the master of the Ning family. He was suspicious of the identity of this ugly old man. One should know that although his strength was not the best in the divine world, he was definitely not a soft persimmon that could be easily pinched by others. However, in front of this old man, he could only block left and right in a sorry state. He had no power to fight back at all. This fact made him extremely depressed. I'm not telling you. The master of the Ning family said angrily. The divine skill in his hand was not idle, and he was constantly throwing it out from his hand. You're also from the divine realm? The young man said as he looked at the old man's endless stream of godly power. Although the cultivation of those who came from the divine world to the divine mainland would be limited, and they could only display the power of a high-level deity, the godly power stored in their bodies would not be limited. The godly power that the old man was using was definitely not something that could be possessed by someone from the divine mainland. You're right, but there's no reward, the master of the Ning family said with a smirk. He glanced at his subordinates from the corner of his eye and found that they had almost eliminated the men in black. Then he said to the young man with a little sympathy, most of your men in black are dead, but my men haven't had enough yet. Why don't you summon some more?" When the young man heard the words of the master of the Ning family, he noticed that most of his subordinates were dead. He was furious, but he couldn't do anything to the old man in front of him. What's more, there was another guy on the side who was eyeing him covetously. He said he was watching the battle, but who could guarantee that they wouldn't join forces to besiege him? He couldn't even deal with one. If there was one more, he was afraid that his little life would be lost here. At this time, his heart was full of hatred for the master of the Ning family and the great elder, because he had seen the strength of these people from the light screen. They were not at their current level at all. However, now he knew that he had been fooled by them. These guys had been wandering around in the secret realm and showed a tired look, which was clearly an act. This was really hateful. "Old man, your identity has been exposed. Now this thing hates us." At this time, the first elder interrupted again, unwilling to be left out. "Damn it, you're the thing." The young man gritted his teeth and roared when he heard the first elder's words. "Oh, then you're not a thing?" The great elder was puzzled. "You're looking for death." The young man was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He didn't care about the master of the Ning family, who was fighting with him, and directly attacked the great elder. "Arg, why are you coming at me? Old man, help me." The great elder shouted as he looked fearfully at the young man. He secretly held a black ball in his hand and threw it when the young man was only a few meters away from him. The young man was immediately caught in a black net. The young man struggled with all his might, but who knew that the net would only get tighter and tighter. In the end, he even had some difficulty breathing. After knowing this fact, he did not dare to struggle anymore. However, his fire-breathing eyes continued to glare fiercely at the great elder. Chapter 1263. The tables have turned. 3. Be more honest. Good girl. Otherwise, you'll be the one to suffer. AI, why didn't you just deal with this old man? Why did you have to find me? I don't like fighting, so I can only use peaceful means to solve our dispute. The great elder's face was filled with regret. Of course, it was a pity that this man couldn't see the truth in front of him. In fact, whether it was fighting with old man Ning or finding him, this man would not have any advantage. "You despicable old man. Quickly let me go. Let's have a one-on-one fight if you have the ability." The young man who was tied up in a net roared in anger. "How am I despicable? You are the despicable ones. Besides, I'm not interested in a one-on-one fight with you. If you want a one-on-one fight, you can go to him." The great elder pointed at Master Ning and said, Come and find me. However, I don't like to fight one-on-one anymore. I prefer to fight in a group." The master of the Ning family said with a smile. When his subordinates heard their master's words, their foreheads were all covered with bean-sized beads of sweat, and they couldn't help but fall over. Boo-hoo! Their family head had been led astray by Lung Ruoxue and the others. Even though the previous family head did not dare to say that he was a gentleman, at least he would not say that he liked to gang up on others in front of so many people. This would damage their family head's great and wise image. Fortunately, there were no outsiders here. They could only kill him to silence him. After the young man heard Master Ning's words, he felt the blood in his chest roil, and a sweet blood rushed up his throat. Then, he directly spat out a mouthful of blood and almost fainted. "What a pity. Your master will definitely like your blood." Master Ning looked at the blood on the ground and said with regret, "My master will definitely not let you off." The young man said smugly, "These people were all dead for sure. Master would soon find out about the situation here, and at that time, none of them would be able to escape. Thank you for your reminder, but I'm afraid your master won't have the chance to save you, and you'll definitely die in front of us." The master of the Ning family said with certainty. After he finished speaking, he even gave the great elder a look. The great elder understood and directly knocked out the young man with a punch. "You're so rude." The master of the Ning family looked at the great elder's fist and said calmly, "Old thing, you're the one who asked me to attack, and now you're looking down on me. How are we going to deal with this?" The great elder complained as he pointed at the young man he had knocked unconscious. Let's go find Shue first. The black-clothed people here must be exterminated. Otherwise, they will bring us trouble. The master of the Ning family said after some thought. And then what about the people from the other forces? The great elder said with some difficulty. They had already been here for a few days, but they had not seen any other forces from the divine realm send people to save their own clansmen. Therefore, he was a little hesitant, wondering if he should meddle in other people's business. There were some forces that would not be in a good position even if they were to interfere. However, he was more afraid that there would be too many people and their information would be leaked. After all, their opponents were very powerful. It was so powerful that it was unimaginable. We'll talk about it when the time comes. We'll listen to Shue. Master Ning said irresponsibly. After he finished speaking, he ordered his subordinates to carry the unconscious young man to the location of the secret chamber that Lung Ruoxue had told them. When they arrived at the door of the secret room, the door had already been opened. The master of the Ning family and the first elder led everyone in. Little girl, we're here. The first elder quickly said as soon as they entered the secret room. Lung Ruoxue nodded and looked at the young man in her godfather's subordinate's hands. Her forehead was filled with black lines as she said, "Why did you bring him here?" She thought that this person had already been killed by her godfather and the others. He didn't expect him to still be alive. The leader of the men in black in the secret room saw his unconscious master and quickly shouted, "Master! Master! Quickly wake up! What have you done to my master?" Just now, this hateful woman in front of him only let him see his master being besieged. As for what happened after that, he didn't see it. However, he was very confident in his master, so he didn't completely believe what he saw with his eyes. After all, his master had many means, and there were many of them hiding in the dark. So, he was still waiting for his master to save him. However, now that he saw his master being controlled by someone else, he could not accept this fact. "Stop shouting. You aren't able to wake up," the great elder said unhappily. However, his words had clearly caused the leader of the men in black to misunderstand. "You kill my master? How dare you kill my master? You will regret this. You will regret this." The leader of the men in black laughed madly, as if he had already foreseen the death of these people. In fact, the reason why he was so confident was because he had been with the young man for a long time. Therefore, he knew very well that his master had someone supporting him. Although he didn't know who that person was, he knew that the person who could make his powerful master bow down to him was definitely not an ordinary person. "Why are you shouting? Your master is not dead yet," the master of the Ning family said speechlessly. This person was really too noisy. Thinking of this, he gave his subordinate a look, and the subordinate quickly went forward to block the mouth of the leader of the men in black. Oh! The leader of the men in black struggled to speak, but his mouth was too tightly stuffed. He could only squeak and woo-woo, but could not say anything. Thanks soon, he was ignored. "Shue, what should we do with these people?" The master of the Ning family pointed at the people of the other forces. "Godfather, since no one from the other forces has come, it means that they have given up on them. Their families are not willing to care about their lives. So why should we meddle in their business?" Lung Ruoxue said coldly. The person behind this was too powerful. If someone among them betrayed them, it would definitely bring them danger. The best way was to let them run their own course. Lung Ruoxue had never thought that she had the magnanimity to be a savior. In fact, she had always felt that she was a selfish person. As long as the people around her were safe and sound, what did other people's lives have to do with her? "Shue, I have no objections to letting them die on their own. However, not all of them are unconscious. If we leave them alone and they betray us, we will be in a passive position. The real mastermind is not easy to deal with," the master of the Ning family said. "Then, Godfather, are you confident that these forces will join forces with us against a common enemy?" Lung Ruoxue asked, feeling a little troubled. Although she really wanted to drag these factions into this, If they knew how powerful the person behind the scenes was, they would definitely back out. Hence, she was in a dilemma. I'm quite confident in some forces, but I can't guarantee anything else. The Master of the Ning family said after some thought. If that's the case, then we'll take those that we can cooperate with. As for the others, we'll leave them here and let them fend for themselves. Lung Ruoxue suggested. That's a good idea. The Master of the Ning family nodded, and then gave a few instructions to his subordinates. After receiving the order, they began to search the crowd. As the targets were carried out of the secret room one by one, those who were in a semi-conscious state were a little afraid, because they were afraid that they would be left here. I beg you, please save me. Don't leave me here. Someone begged. Once someone took the lead, the others would naturally follow. You don't need to worry. Most of the men in black are dead. Your family will send people to save you. Lung Ruoxue consoled. However, Lung Ruoxue's words didn't make those who were still in a half-conscious state feel completely at ease. On the contrary, they became even more worried because they were very clear that they might have been abandoned by their families. No one from our family will come. Please, I beg you, save us. Some people kept begging. Enough, stop quarreling. Our manpower is limited and we can't bring so many people out. So, you guys better pray for yourselves. The great elder said unhappily. He looked down on people who had no backbone the most. They were obviously not unconscious, but they still asked for help. By right, the men in black were almost all dead. They could have left by themselves. Although their bodies were very weak now, it was not to the extent that they could not even move. Girl, let's go. First elder turned to speak to Lung Ruoxue. They had already saved most of the people they wanted to save, so there was naturally no need for them to continue staying here. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded and left the secret room with the rest of the Ning family. As for the young man and the leader of the men in black, she left them in the secret room. Of course, they were not fully conscious. As for the people from the other forces, it would not be easy for them to leave this place. After leaving the mystic realm, Lung Ruoxue found a quiet place and took out the house, placing it on the snow. When Master Ning's subordinates saw this, they immediately carried the people they had rescued into the house. Before Master Ning and the others entered the secret chamber, Lung Qingtian and the others, who had been moved out of the bracelet by Lung Ruoxue, supported each other and followed them in. After entering the house, the group did not exchange any pleasantries and went back to their own rooms. Lung Ruoxue pulled the evil demon along as they headed straight to her grandfather's residence. In Lung Qingshan's room, at this moment, he was resting on the bed. When he saw his precious granddaughter and grandson-in-law, he struggled to get up but was stopped by Lung Ruoxue. Grandpa, don't move. Be good and lie down. Lung Ruoxue pressed on her grandfather's shoulder and said disapprovingly. It had been more than 3 years since they last met, and her grandfather had actually lost weight. She wondered if it was because he had been tortured in the so-called secret realm. When she thought of this, the anger in her heart burned again. Just making the young man and the leader of the men in black lose their minds was letting them off too easily. However, she believed that they would not have a good end. Grandfather's fine. He'll be fine after a few days of rest. Don't worry. Lung Qingtian consoled her, feeling a little embarrassed. They had made worry again. As a grandfather, he really felt a little apologetic. Yes, Grandpa. You guys have a good rest first. We'll talk when you're done. Lung Ruoxue said in an understanding manner. Chapter 1264. The Conflicted Shuang 1. All right, he said. Lung Qingtian nodded. He could only lie down on the bed and not move. Lung Ruoxue exchanged a few words with her grandfather before leaving with the demon. The two came to the garden and saw Master Ning, the first elder, and the others sitting on the stone chairs in the garden. So they went straight to them. Is your grandfather all right? The master of the Ning family asked with concern. He should have gone to see for himself, but he was afraid of delaying the other party's rest. It's nothing serious. I just used up too much energy and need a good rest. Lung Ruoxue explained. Oh, that's good to hear. The master of the Ning family was relieved. "Godfather, have you settled the others?" Lung Ruoxue chuckled as she asked. "Well, you don't have to worry about the others. I'll arrange for my subordinates to contact their families. However, you have to prepare the Qi family's excuse." The master of the Ning family warned. He had heard from Shui that a so-called genius had come to the Qi family, and he had also heard from the Ning family's great elder about the Qi family's genius behavior. Thus, he did not have a good impression of that genius. "All right," he said. Lung Ruoxue nodded in agreement. She would personally look for Qi Rue to discuss this matter in a few days. "Little girl, there shouldn't be any problem if we throw that young man and the leader of the men in black into that secret realm, right?" The great elder asked worriedly. He could not understand why Shui did not kill them directly. That would be permanent. Hee. First elder, the Qi family's genius I mentioned to you is in the secret realm. He had made a hard trip, so he should at least leave some souvenirs for him. Otherwise, wouldn't he have made a wasted trip? He'll feel bad if I do that. Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly. Hee. Shui girl, you're really bad. The master of the Ning family smiled approvingly. He knew very well that this girl wanted to use the hands of the Qi family's genius to get rid of the young man and the leader of the men in black. This way, the Qi family's master could forget about staying out of this world. It must be known that the old man of the Qi family was extremely cunning. If he did not make a ruthless move, it would not be easy to drag him down. So he was happy to see it happen. "My godfather taught me well," Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. After hearing her words, Master Ning couldn't laugh anymore. When did he teach this girl? He was clearly led astray by her. Master Ning felt wronged as he thought to himself. His pair of resentful eyes kept stealing glances at Lung Ruoxue. Hee. The girl is right. It's all because you taught her well. The first elder agreed, but he was overjoyed in his heart. He was happy to see this old thing suffer. "You're all bullying me. My life is so bitter." The master of the Ning family pretended to cry, but it was only thunder and no rain. Not far away, when the Ning family subordinates saw their master and old ancestors' rascally appearance, black lines appeared on their foreheads, and they couldn't help but secretly sigh. "Oh, their wise and great master. How did it end up like this?" It was really unacceptable. At this time, they were extremely depressed and sad. It was obvious that this fact was a big blow to them. "This is our old ancestor." The Ning family's first elder asked the elder beside him in a low voice. He even rubbed his eyes exaggeratedly with a face full of disbelief. "Thanks that. I think so." An elder whispered, but his eyes involuntarily drifted to the subordinates of the Ning family master. They were all the personal guards of the old ancestor, so they should know better. "There's no need to guess. That's the master of the family. He hasn't been replaced." None of you are allowed to tell anyone about the patriarch's current state. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you. The leader of the guards warned. We won't tell anyone." The Ning family's head elder quickly said. How could this kind of thing be spread out? In fact, he also felt that the old ancestor's current appearance was a little embarrassing. "That's good. Also, you guys need to calm down. Don't make such a big fuss if you encounter such things in the future." The leader of the guards warned. Yes. The Ning family elders replied. The other party's identity and status were above them, so they could only listen to what the other party said. Their little tricks, naturally, could not be hidden from the master of the Ning family and the first elder. First elder looked at Master Ning's depressed face and laughed in his heart. This time, Old Man Ning's face was thrown to his grandmother's house. Originally, he wanted to act coquettishly with his goddaughter, but who knew that he would be misunderstood by his own juniors and subordinates. Lung Ruoxue glanced at her godfather and the great elder. She was smart enough to leave so that her godfather would not feel awkward. After returning to the room with the demon, the two of them entered the bracelet. Sister, Qingju appeared in front of the two of them with an excited look on his face. Qingju, what made you so happy? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Big sister, come with me and you'll know. After Qingju finished speaking, he pulled Lung Ruoxue and the demon away. The two of them followed Qing-ju to a light screen. At this time, the light screen was showing the situation in the mystic realm. Her beasts were all sprawled in front of the light screen in high spirits and focused on watching every move inside. They even commented from time to time. What appeared on the screen, other than the situation in the secret room, was more about the Qi family genius. The Qi clan genius led his subordinates around the secret realm. Their originally bright and beautiful clothes had long since become tattered. Everyone's faces were pale, and they looked extremely tired. Their mental state was extremely tense, making them even more suspicious. When Lung Ruoxue saw their expressions, she knew that they had been tormented by this so-called secret realm for the past few days. The effects of the illusionary realm on them were beyond doubt. If their minds were not firm enough, there was a high possibility that some of them would lose their lives in the secret realm. However, she didn't care whether they lived or died. What she was more concerned about was whether the Qi family's genius would follow her script. Should he help them? Chapter 1265, Shui Ying's Dilemma, 2. Now that the entire secret realm was under Qing-Ju surveillance, it would be a piece of cake for her to help them. However, she did not want them to find the secret room so easily. She wanted them to suffer a little. Thinking of this, she gave up the idea of helping them and decided to watch the show first. Of course, she would not watch them all die. Although the young man and the leader of the men in black were a little delirious, the secret realm was still operating normally. Therefore, it would take them a long time to find the secret room and find out the truth about the secret realm. She would let them stay in the secret realm for a few more days. With their abilities and the fact that no one was controlling the secret realm, she decided to let them stay in the secret realm. There might be some trouble, but not all of them would be fatal. Just like that, Lung Ruoxue and the rest settled down in the snow mountain temporarily. On one hand, it was to help grandfather and the rest recuperate, and, on the other hand, it was for the herbs in the snow mountain. As for Lung Ruoxue, the demon, and Beastie, they would gather in front of the light screen when they had nothing to do. They would watch the Qi clan's genius walk around the mystic realm, constantly finding himself in trouble. This seemed to have become a part of their leisure life. In the garden, the first elder of the Ning family had just returned from hunting with the other elders of the family, and they seemed to have gained a lot. They were holding up the prey in their hands and showing it to everyone. Old ancestor, we've hunted a lot of your favorite snow rabbits. You can eat your fill today. The Ning family's first elder said with a fawning expression. Who said that I like to eat snow rabbits? Master Ning's face darkened, and he said unhappily, it was okay to eat that thing occasionally, but who could stand eating it every day? And these juniors who made him deeply speechless after seeing that he was very interested in the snow rabbit actually went out every day to hunt for snow rabbits, causing him to eat them for several days. Now, as long as he thought of snow rabbits, he felt like vomiting. It was really infuriating. The Ning family's first elder was stunned, and his forehead couldn't help but be full of cold sweat. He thought to himself, did they see wrong? Did the old ancestors' taste change again? Woo! One must know that they, the younger generation, had really put in a lot of effort in order to please their ancestor every day. However, he did not expect that the old ancestors' taste would change so quickly. Lung Ruoxue, who was walking into the garden, saw this scene and laughed in her heart. Godfather finally couldn't take it anymore. In fact, when she saw her godfather eating snow rabbits so happily every day, and the Ning family's first elder and the others constantly going to the snow mountains to catch snow rabbits to show respect to her ancestor, she knew that such a day would come. Schwer, get them to take the rabbits away. I don't want to see those rabbits again. The master of the Ning family saw that his goddaughter had arrived and spoke as if he had found a savior. Godfather, this is a token of appreciation from the younger generation of the Ning family. How can I disappoint them? Lung Ruoxue pretended to be in a difficult position. Yup, old man Ning, These children know that you like to eat rabbits, so they especially go out to call you every day. How can you do this? The first elder said with an evil smile. Here you go. You can eat all these damn rabbits. The master of the Ning family shouted angrily. Don't. How can I accept the kind intentions of your family's junior? The great elder quickly refused. In fact, he had been eating rabbits with Old Man Ning for a few days and had had enough. However, as long as there was an opportunity to anger Old Man Ning, he would not let it go. Thanks, it's okay, they won't mind. The master of the Ning family said generously, but I mind. I'm not as thick-skinned as you. The great elder teased, but his words angered the master of the Ning family. Damn old man, how am I thick-skinned? If you don't make it clear today, I'm not done with you. The master of the Ning family shouted at the top of his voice. What's wrong? You want a one-on-one fight? Oof. Even though you're stronger than me, I'm not afraid of you. The first elder said, unwilling to be outdone. One-on-one. You said it yourself. Let's go. Let's find a place to have a one-on-one. After Master Ning finished speaking, he dragged the great elder and left the garden without looking back. The Ning family's first elder and the others who were left in the garden were all dumbfounded. However, they were more worried because they were afraid that their ancestor would really be angry. They had also eaten rabbit meat for several days, so why didn't they understand their ancestor's feelings? How could the old ancestor be an exception to the things that they were sick of eating? However, they were only focused on pleasing their ancestor and did not think so much. The Ning family's first elder and the rest looked at Lung Ruoxue with uneasy hearts. They could not help but ask, Miss Lung, what do you think we should do about this? We thought that our ancestor liked to eat, so we didn't think so much. It's fine. Godfather understands your feelings. He won't be angry. Lung Ruoxue smiled as she consoled her. She was secretly impressed by her godfather's quick-witted thinking. Actually, he didn't go to fight with the great elder. The two old men had obviously found an excuse to slip away in order to get rid of the rabbit meat. Really? The Ning family's grand elder asked, somewhat worried. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded helplessly. Perhaps she could not understand how the Ning family's first elder and the rest felt when they faced their godfather. She always felt that they were being too careful. In fact, the old man definitely didn't like them doing this, but even if he said it, these people probably wouldn't believe it. This should be how big families get along. Then we can rest assured. But what about the rabbit meat? An elder of the Ning family said worriedly. In order to satisfy the old ancestors' desire for food, they had hunted a lot of snow rabbits. It wouldn't be a problem to eat it for a month. You can bring it back for Ning Fei and the others to try. Lung Ruoxue suggested. All right then let's bring them back. The Ning family's first elder thought for a while and said, AI. He didn't know what the old ancestor liked, and why was it so difficult to please him? In the following days, everyone in the Ning family racked their brains to think of all kinds of ways to please the master of the Ning family, but the effect was minimal. The master of the Ning family was pestered by them to hide everywhere, and he was in a very embarrassing situation. This had also become something Lung Ruoxue and the rest enjoyed every day. Every time they saw the Ning family's master fleeing in a sorry state, they would be very happy, especially the first elder. Chapter 1266. The Conflicted Shuang 3. After a short rest, Lung Qingtian and the others' injuries had almost recovered. After that, they told Lung Ruoxue and the rest of their reason for coming to the Snow Mountain. It turned out that they had also heard that a secret realm had appeared in the myriad mountain Snow Mountain, so they had come here. When they first saw the secret realm, they had doubts in their hearts and did not intend to enter it. However, they were accidentally sucked in by the sudden light in the secret realm. Therefore, they had to brace themselves and explore the secret realm. At that time, they had also killed many men and black and dark creatures in the mystic realm. With Lung Ruoxue's pills, they could survive much longer in the mystic realm than the others. In addition to their strong will, the illusion did not affect them too much. However, due to their physical fatigue, they had still fallen into the hands of the man in black and the young man. They had also lost a lot of their divine power and blood. If it was not for Lung Ruoxu's timely appearance, they might have lost their lives in the secret realm. Hence, their hatred for the secret realm could be said to be extremely great. When Lung Ruoxu heard their words, black lines appeared on her forehead. She was deeply speechless. Could it be that the mystic realm had no choice but to suck them in personally after seeing that no one had entered? She knew it. How could his subordinate and grandfather be so careless? So there was such a thing. However, she felt some sympathy for the young man. It seemed that it was not easy to be the spirit of the pseudo-secret realm. Not only did they have to ensure the number of people entering the mystic realm, but they also had to filter out the outstanding people or beasts so that they could make use of them. Once this matter was messed up, they would probably be reprimanded by their masters. No matter how they looked at it, it was a tragic character. Shuang, were you all sucked in by the secret realm? Lung Ruoxu lifted her beautiful eyes and smiled as she looked at Xue Ying, who was not far away. No. After we discovered the secret realm, the beasts who lived in the snow mountain all year round were very excited and didn't think too much about it. So, we went in directly. After we went in, we found out that it wasn't the real secret realm. Shuang explained gloomily. This time, many of the beasts that he knew had died in the secret room. This made him feel quite upset, even though many of them were not his friends, but enemies. We entered by ourselves. Before Lung Ruoxu could ask, Qi Rue had already confessed. I know, Lung Ruoxu said, amused. Qi Rue's face turned red in embarrassment. Qi Rue, do you know what to say when we return to the Qi family? Lung Ruoxu asked again. Although she had briefly mentioned this matter to Qi Rue, she did not know if Qi Rue would understand her meaning or follow her instructions. Yes, I know. Qi Rue nodded. He knew that Lung Ruoxu didn't want him to reveal that she was the one who had saved the Qi family. Since her savior had such a request, he would naturally comply. The Qi clan's genius is still trapped in the secret realm. However, it won't take them a few days to find the secret room where you were locked up. They naturally won't be able to find you there, so you have to think of a good reason. Lung Ruoxu reminded. Thanks, yes. Qi Rue nodded. He had thought about this matter and naturally knew what to say when he returned home. He had also given instructions to the Qi family members who were still alive. That's good. The other teams have gone back. When do you plan to leave? Lung Ruoxu asked. We don't plan to go back. Qi Rue said calmly. Not going back? So, you're going to stay in this snow mountain? Lung Ruoxu asked in surprise. Yes, we're seriously injured. It wasn't easy for us to escape from the secret realm. Naturally, we can't go back on our own. Qi Rue said matter-of-factly. By doing this, you're giving all the credit to that genius of the Qi family. Lung Ruoxu reminded him. She had not expected Qi Rue to be so evil and come up with such an idea. However, this way, the explanation of how they could leave the secret realm was much more perfect. It was just that the credit would fall on the head of the genius from the Qi clan. If he's thick-skinned enough, he can naturally say that he saved us. As for whether or not people will believe him, that's not for me to decide. Qi Rue laughed evilly. The Qi family's genius had stayed in the secret realm for quite a few days, and most of his subordinates must have been lost. If he insisted that he was the one who rescued them, no one would believe him. Since you're so confident, then find a good time. He'll send you to the path he must pass. At that time, you can leave with them with a justified reason. Lung Ruoxu thought for a while. If Qi Rue's idea had her cooperation, it would have been even more perfect. So, how could she not help? Then he'll thank Miss Lung first. Qi Rue said happily. In fact, he had been waiting for this sentence. After briefly understanding the situation and discussing the Qi clan, Lung Ruoxu left with the evildoer. After returning to the bangle, Lung Ruoxu ran straight towards the screen. The screen was still displaying the Qi clan genius every move. However, after staying in the secret realm for so many days, they had been attacked by the men in black and the dark creatures. Hence, the Qi clan genius had very few subordinates left. As for the two beautiful maidservants, They had long become the dark creature's food. Lung Ruoxue instructed Qingju to inform her when the Qi family genius only had one guard by his side. With Lung Ruoxue's instructions, Qingju naturally did his best to guide the Qi family's genius and the rest to the area where the dark creatures were concentrated. In less than 2 days, the Qi family's genius only had a pathetic-looking guard by his side. The Qi family's genius body was also covered in injuries. Afterward, Qingju led the Qi family's geniuses to the secret chamber and found the young man and the leader of the men in black who had lost their minds, as well as the people from the other forces who were still in the secret chamber. Many of the people from the other forces who had not completely escaped from danger treated the Qi clan genius as a savior and almost beat him up. The Qi clan genius, who had been coaxed to the point of being smug, even promised to take them out of the mystic realm. At the same time, in a fit of anger, he killed the leader of the men in black and the young man, who had lost their minds. Chapter 1267, Shui Ying's Dilemma. 4. However, the Qi family geniuses also asked some people who were still in the secret realm why so many men in black had died, but no one could answer. They seemed to have forgotten something and could not answer all their questions. Seeing this, the Qi clan genius could only give up on the idea of finding out the secret of the secret realm from them, and led everyone out of the secret realm. Not long after they left, there was a huge explosion in the secret room in the secret realm. Everything disappeared with the explosion. After the secret room exploded, somewhere far away in the immortal realm, someone was furious. After making arrangements for Qi Rui and the rest, Lung Ruoxue led the group and continued to wander around the snowy mountain. The first elder of the Ning family took his men and bade farewell. Before they left, their resentful eyes followed their own ancestor with pitiful expressions. Lung Ruoxue and the rest stayed in the snow mountain for a few more days. After their harvest was bountiful, they decided to return to their residence. Before they descended from the snowy mountain, Lung Ruoxue looked at Shui Ying's reluctant and hesitant expression. She said directly, "Shui Ying, do you want to come with us?" Hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, Master Ning and First Elder's faces were filled with black lines. They couldn't help but think to themselves, is this girl planning to kidnap Beastie again? However, this snow shadow was an adult snow fox. He didn't know if it would be fooled. The two of them were looking forward to it. For a long while, Shui Ying did not say anything. He only looked at Lung Ruoxue quietly, as if he had 1,000 words to say. Seeing Shui Ying like this, the master of the Ning family and the great elder were a little worried, and they couldn't help but whisper to each other. "Old thing, do you think this little fox has taken fancy to me, her goddaughter? AI, if the child is too outstanding, it will be troublesome." The master of the Ning family asked worriedly. Although the love between man and beast was not forbidden in the divine realm, it was definitely not something that everyone could accept, and their descendants would be like Ziyu, full of danger everywhere, and could only live a life of hiding everywhere. Therefore, he really did not want his god-grandson to be a half-beast in the future. Actually, Master Ning was overthinking. It was a good thing that Lung Ruoxue didn't know about her godfather's wild thoughts. Otherwise, she would be depressed. Look at how happy you are. Do you think that little fox is a match for that evil man? The first elder, who clearly understood the Ning family master's thoughts, said somewhat speechlessly, "Thanks, that's true, it's still all right. My adopted grandson is safe." The master of the Ning family muttered to himself, "Bah! Other than you, no one would think of such things." The great elder was helpless. This old thing was probably too free, or he was too annoyed by the younger generation of his family, so he was thinking about it. It was a good thing that no one cared about their actions now. Otherwise, how embarrassing would it be for them? The great elder looked at the crowd carefully and found that their thoughts were all on the little fox. His heart was slightly relieved. At this moment, Shui Ying, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke. "I'm sorry, I can't leave with you. I have something important to do." the snow shadow said with some reluctance. Although it really wanted to leave with them, it had its own mission. Something important? Can you do it yourself? Don't you need any help? Lung Ruashua understood. She knew that this fox had something on its mind because it was not the first time she had seen it in a daze. Especially when it saw the three beastie, it seemed to be troubled and at a loss. I can do it on my own. Shuang paused for a moment before continuing. Oh, then say goodbye to the succubus and the rest. Lung Ruashua looked at Shuang, who was clearly in a dilemma, and smiled. After she finished speaking, she took out the charm, baby, and the chi from the bracelet. After the three little beasts came out, they immediately jumped onto Shui Ying's body and rubbed against him affectionately. Shui Ying was also very reluctant to part with them. Shui Ying, you should leave with us. You don't have any family in the snow mountain. How lonely you are. You won't be bored if you're with us. Baby raised his head. His silver eyes were sparkling with starlight, and he said in an extremely cute manner, Yup, let's go together. Master will treat you very well. The referee also advised. The maid did not say anything, but her face was filled with anticipation. Snow Shadow was very conflicted. After hearing the words of these three little fellows, it did not know what to do. Chapter 1268. The Slave Auction 1. The days it spent with Lung Ruashue and the others were the happiest it had ever been. However, the moment it thought of its mission, Shui Ying could not relax. Furthermore, it did not want to implicate the three adorable little fellows. Hence, it was extremely conflicted. When Lung Ruashue saw Shui Ying's conflicted expression, she chuckled and said, Shui Ying, although I don't know what you want, can you really do it by yourself? If you become one of us, then your business will naturally be our business. With our help, your business will be easier to handle. I don't want to implicate you. This matter is not easy to handle. Shui Ying spoke the truth. Since Lung Ruashue had already said so much, it would be a little too much if he were to continue being pretentious. Hence, he could only tell her the truth. No matter how difficult your matter is, it's not as difficult as mine. Lung Ruashue said with a smile. Even though she didn't tell many people about the master of the secret realm, she knew that Shui Ying's matter wouldn't be as troublesome as hers. This, Shui Ying was speechless. He knew that Lung Ruashue was referring to the person behind the mystic realm. However, he had to admit that she was right. A single mystic realm was enough to trap all of them. One could only imagine how powerful the person behind the mystic realm was. If you're afraid of being implicated by us, you don't have to come with us. Lung Ruashue laughed evilly. He'll go with you. Shui Ying sighed softly and said with a face full of helplessness. In order to convince it, Lung Ruashue had even goaded it into doing so. How could still not know what was good for it? Moreover, she really liked being with them. It felt like home. Then let's go, Lung Ruashue said with a smile. She was extremely satisfied. How could she not have a big fox who yearned for warmth? Exactly. Big Sister is not an ordinary person. At this moment, Baby's voice rang out in Lung Ruakshu's heart. Instantly, her forehead was filled with black lines. Sob. She was too pleased with herself. How could she have forgotten that there was a group of peeping Tom in her heart? These little things' greatest joy was to peek at her inner thoughts. Poor Lung Ruashue. Not a single one of the beasties was willing to tell her. Actually, her inner thoughts could be blocked, because this was their greatest hobby, and it couldn't be taken away. After they turned into Snow Shadow, Lung Ruashue and her group left the snowy mountain in a grand manner. To make it easier for them to travel, Shui Ying had transformed into a mini fox. Although it had never liked to be so small, as it looked very unassuming. Not only that, after it had shrunk, Lung Ruashue even hugged it in her arms like she was holding a pet. This made it even more uncomfortable. After all, it was an adult fox that was not young and had never acknowledged a master, let alone being hugged by a human. However, this human was a woman, which made it even more uncomfortable. However, It felt even more embarrassed because there was a pair of angry and covetous eyes staring at it. This made it feel very aggrieved. Sob, it wasn't like it wanted to be carried by Lung Ruoxue. Why did she have to put the blame on it? It felt very wronged, okay? Shuang couldn't help but think to himself. As he walked, he glared at the uncomfortable fox. The evil demon's heart was about to spit fire, and the air pressure on his body was extremely low. He wanted to glare at the evil fox to death. The cold current on his body made Fengde and the others hide far away, not daring to take half a step closer to him, lest they become the scapegoats. It was not as if Lung Ruoxue was completely unaware of the undercurrents around her. However, she chose to ignore them. After all, in her eyes, there was no difference between Shui Ying and the succubus. They were all very cute little beasts. Unless she was carrying a demon, the demon would not be happy no matter who she was carrying. However, demons could not be mimicked, so, thanks after the group left the snow mountain, they didn't go back to the mountain. Instead, they started exploring the godly land. During this period, they had visited many cities. In addition to understanding the local customs of each city, they had also evaluated each city. Soon, a month had passed. As for Lung Ruoxue and the rest, they had unknowingly arrived at a city in the Qi family's god domain. This city was called Bamboo City. It could only be considered a medium-sized city in the Qi family's divine domain, but it was extremely prosperous. It was not inferior to Qi City, the main city of the Qi family's divine domain. Lung Ruoxue and the others walked on the streets and realized that there were many people on the streets. After asking around, they found out that there would be a slave auction 3 days later. Hence, there were many factions that came to participate. It wasn't easy for them to find an inn to stay in temporarily. However, there was only one guest room left in the inn. Lung Ruoxue and the rest in mind. When a manager of the inn saw that they had agreed to share a room with so many people, he was deeply surprised. However, he did not dare to ask. After all, the people of the divine world could not just look at their appearance. Moreover, as the owners of the inn, they could not offend their customers at will. After booking the rooms, Lung Ruoxue and the rest were about to head upstairs when someone suddenly called out to them. The person who called out to them was a man in his 30s. The man was tall and had a pretty face. However, the way he looked at Lung Ruoxue made her extremely unhappy. "What's the matter?" Lung Ruoxue asked indifferently. "Miss, can you give us the room? I'm willing to pay double the price. Moreover, there's so many of you in one room, I don't think it can fit so many people." The man said with a smile, "It's our business whether you can stay or not. Since we've already booked the room, there's no reason for us to give it up. It's to avoid sleeping on the streets at night." Fengde couldn't help but ask. "I said I'm willing to pay double the price." The man said with a good temper. He was not angry at Fengde's words. "Even if you pay 10 times the price, we won't let you have this room." Chengwu also spoke. "There are so many of you. One room simply can't accommodate all of you. Since that's the case, why don't you do us a favor? We're from the Ascender Alliance. With our favor, you can do whatever you want on the godly mainland. So, you'd better consider it carefully," the man said with pride. Chapter 1269. The Slave Auction 2. Is the Ascender Alliance that great? Why didn't I know that I could do whatever I want on the godly mainland if I owed the Ascender Alliance a favor? Then what do you think the 8 great divine domains are? Lung Ruoxue asked with a calm smile. She did not have a good impression of the Ascender Alliance. Moreover, she would not have any hostility towards the indigenous people just because she was an Ascender. In her heart, friends were not distinguished by status and race, as long as they could enter her eyes. However, the self-righteous behavior of the Ascender Alliance obviously did not win her heart. Therefore, she naturally did not need to be polite, and there was no need for the Ascender Alliance to owe her any empty favors. How audacious! You dare to look down on our Ascender Alliance? I think you're tired of living. Suddenly, a sharp female voice interrupted. The crowd turned around and saw a woman in her early 20s glaring at Lung Ruoxue. Her beautiful face was clearly filled with anger. No one knew if she was angry because Lung Ruashua looked down on the Ascender Alliance, or because she was jealous because Lung Ruakshua's face was more beautiful than hers. Did I say that I looked down on the Ascender Alliance? What I mean is that your Ascender Alliance should know your own limitations. In the Divine Realm, you are not the only power. Therefore, when it's time to exercise restraint, don't be so smug. Lung Ruashua chuckled. You can stop quibbling. I'm not a fool. Don't tell me I can't understand the meaning in your words. In short, you look down on our Ascender Alliance. We will never let you go. The woman said angrily. Since you are certain that I look down on the Ascender Alliance, then do as you please. Let's go. After Lung Ruashua finished speaking, she led the group upstairs without turning back. Their room was located on the 4th floor. It was a top-grade suite with a total of 5 rooms. The facilities inside were also rather luxurious. After entering the room, Lung Ruashua took out her own room and placed it in the room. The advantage of her house was that it could adjust its size according to the size of the storage area. Therefore, it was fine as long as people could enter it normally. After all, the interior of the house was a space of its own, so the size of the house was irrelevant. After entering the room, Lung Ruashua and the rest went back to their own rooms to rest. However, Master Ning summoned his personal guard and gave some instructions. Then, one of the guards left the room. At night, Lung Ruashua and the demon walked out of their room and into the garden. To their surprise, dinner was already prepared. Godfather, did you ask your people to prepare all this food? Lung Ruashua said. Hee, that's right. Even though the food here is not as delicious as yours, it is still considered top grade in the Divine Realm. I had to send someone to Chi City to specially buy these. You can't buy them in Hui City at all. Master Ning said proudly. TSK, look at how beautiful you are. The great elder at the side said sarcastically. He couldn't bear to see this old fellow being smug. What should he do? What's wrong? Bite me. The master of the Ning family shouted with his hands on his hips. When his subordinates saw their master's state, they all turned their heads to the other side. Godfather, can we eat now? I'm hungry. Lung Ruashua saw that they were about to quarrel again and quickly changed the topic. Otherwise, if they really started quarreling, this meal would probably be ruined again. Thanks, since your goddaughter is hungry. Then hurry up and eat. Don't starve yourself and lose weight. The master of the Ning family quickly said, Yup, since her god-granddaughter was hungry, she should hurry up and eat. You've lost weight. The grand elder said. Lung Ruashua was speechless when she heard the words of these two. These two old men liked to disagree with each other and were fiercer than their grandpas when they quarreled. But their relationship was surprisingly good. At least when they saw someone bullying the other party, they would definitely not sit by and do nothing. What a strange way of getting along. Eat, Lung Ruashua said helplessly. Yes. Everyone nodded and found a place to sit down. After the meal, the great elder started to chat about the slave auction. Godfather, what's going on with this slave auction? Lung Ruashua asked with a puzzled look. She never thought that there would be a special slave auction in the God world. However, those slaves must be having a hard time. After all, the God world was a cruel place where people ate people. It's a long story. The master of the Ning family sighed. Can't you make it short? The great elder rolled his eyes at the master of the Ning family and said unhappily. He didn't like this stinky old man to keep them in suspense, other than Shui, and the others, who here didn't know what kind of auction it was. What does it have to do with you? The goddaughter is asking me. The master of the Ning family couldn't help but shout. I'm just feeling indignant. If you want to say it, then say it quickly. If you're keeping me in suspense, they'll say it for you. The first elder said with an evil smile. Don't meddle. Do you know as much as I do? Master Ning's face darkened as he shouted unhappily. However, when he saw Lung Ruashua, he immediately put on a smile and said in an affable manner, My good daughter, since you've asked, I'll tell you. You also know that the strong are respected in the divine realm, and strength is supreme, right? As for these slaves, they're the lowest class of people in the divine realm. Their status in the divine realm is not even comparable to that of a beast. One can only imagine how difficult their lives are. Slaves, on the other hand, have no self-respect and no sense of self. Their lives belong to their masters. If their masters ask them to die, they have to die. They have to obey whatever their masters ask them to do. Otherwise, the overbearing slave contract will not let them go. The master of the Ning family paused before continuing. How did those people become slaves? You can't be born a slave, right? Lung Rawashua asked curiously. Unless they're the offspring of a slave, of course, no one is born a slave. There are many reasons for becoming a slave, but the most common one is the extermination of a family. When a family is exterminated, the people who are still alive will become slaves even if they are alive. So, in my opinion, they might as well be dead. The master of the Ning family sighed. Little girl, in the divine realm, the sale of slaves is legal, and becoming a slave, other than being born with it, is more likely to be caused by human factors. If I have an enemy and I don't want him to die too easily, they'll turn him into a slave. Once he becomes a slave, he can't resist even if he wants to, because the slaves are all bound by some kind of restriction. Once they resist, they'll be greeted with a fate worse than death. The great elder sighed. This kind of slavery system could be said to be very cruel and inhumane. He had always disapproved of it, but it was allowed by the Divine Lord's estate. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.